A dark-haired woman stares in terror as a masked giant looms. Fallen victims lie among the trees following a brutal assault. The robed priest and Altan watch in horror as a woman reacts to the carnage. A hand grips a crumpled note with desperation. Glowing star patterns ignite within the woman's intense blue eyes. She aggressively grabs the priest's arm to seize the document. The priest begs Asa to stop as she charges toward the masked villain. Asa screams her defiance, vowing to shatter his cruel plans as she attacks. A weapon strikes a magical barrier, creating a violent flare of light. A massive surge of blue energy erupts across the battlefield. A jagged grin reflects pure malice. 8 centuries ago, a divine blue light descended upon the ancient tribes. A fallen star brought a celestial force into the world. Ancient tribesmen witnessed the crackling energy left by the star's impact. The arrival of a rare ore called econium triggers a revolutionary era for humanity.
Using the new conduits, the gray-haired chief oversees the creation of magical tools.
Humanity masters supernatural control, allowing a young woman to manipulate a vortex of water. The chief presents birthday gifts to Asa and Altan, celebrating their special day. He asks them to demonstrate their progress by making a training topspin rapidly. Young Asa eagerly accepts the challenge, vowing to beat Altan this time. Asa channels blue energy to make the bell spin with incredible speed. She laughs with joy as her power manifests brilliantly. The chief asks about their birthday wishes while Altan confirms they have made come. Young Asa reveals a mischievous grin while thinking of her secret wish. Later, Asa rushes Altan toward the village, eager for the upcoming festivities. She excitedly anticipates the 4-tribe procession while Altan follows at a slower pace. Asa demands that Altan help her climb a tree while he jokingly suggests she push his butt next time. Altan grumbles but provides a boost to help her reach the branches. She reaches her perch and urges Altan to hurry up and join her. Asa shouts in amazement and tells Altan to look at the festival. The Kokorin festival begins as colorful crowds gather in the village square. Dancers from the Terran tribe perform a graceful ceremony. The Kaiva tribe presents their massive snow yaks to the public. Asa notices the chief welcoming a prestigious robed figure. She is overwhelmed with excitement at the sight of the important visitor. The chief explains that a high-ranking priest has arrived to scout for candidates, sending Altan into a dizzying panic. History records that these priests select leaders from the 10 great tribes based on their strength. Asa declares their absolute need to win the upcoming tournament to become sovereign candidates and explore the world. A group of bullies approaches the pair with hostile intent. A bully shoves Asa face first into a pile of yak dung, giving a whole new meaning to the phrase dirty fighting. The bullies mockingly complain about dung getting on their shoes while they laugh at Asa. They stand over the fallen girl, reveling in their petty cruelty. Altan helps a disgraced and dirty Asa back to her feet as he glares at the group. The bully reminds them of their embarrassing loss last year and claims they should be thankful for the distracting smell. Asa explodes in rage, threatening to shove her shoe up the bully's backside in retaliation. A firm hand grips Asa's shoulder to prevent her from attacking. Altan restrains her, advising her to wait for a better opportunity. He tells the bullies they will settle things during the tournament as Asa mockingly taunts them. A horn blast signals the start of the official proceedings. Announcers herald the start of the tournament as contestants race toward a massive mountain. Contestants race toward the massive mountain. Asa and Altan scale the crest. Asa pulls Altan onto Galect. They continue their treacherous vertical ascent. Altan orders Asa to crouch as he blasts an opponent away. Altan warns his sister before she delivers a powerful kick. Asa explains that they always succeed by protecting one another.
The announcer states that only 2 teams will advance.
A fallen contestant lands face first in Mar. Altan and Asa accept the challenge of being outnumbered. The priest asks if the 2 candidates are from the chief's clan. The chief explains their bond comes from shared childhood trauma. The priest reflects on the harshness of the era for orphans. The chief mentions the Sarkat tribe's troubling rumors during festivities. Onlookers gossip about the Sarkat tribe's dire situation. People discuss rampant crime and disappearances outside the city. The chief believes hard times build character. The chief reassures him the village is guarded against bandits. The chief invites him to enjoy the party. Night falls as the tribe begins its celebration. 2 cups clink as festivities begin. The tribe gathers around warm campfires. Altan tends to Asa's ballerins. Asa explains her drawing represents their victory and future legacy. Altan questions if becoming a sovereign is worth the trouble. Asa demands he lead beside her to share the burden. She calls them 2 souls in one body and encourages him. Altan realizes his sister isn't meant for a simple life. He reflects silently on her great ambition. Altan decides to fully support his sister's dreams. Asa responds with a joyful swow. She vows to surpass her rivals under the stars. A bored guard regrets his evening assignment. He assumes nothing will happen tonight. An assassin strikes from the darkness. The guard falls in a bloody silence. The villain tells the dying guard his sacrifice has purpose. A sinister red aura fills the air. The villainous leader officially begins the HUD. Credits roll for the series Red Orpha. Asa identifies their next opponents for Othern.
Altan asks if she recalls their plan.
Asa declares her perfect mastery of echo flows.
Dark energy swirls around her Amala.
She readies her stance for training. Altan challenges Asa to strike a training stone. Asa concentrates her inner celestial power. She strikes the stone with precision. The umbrella tip channels magical force. The stone flies during their practice. Altan questions Asa's failed energy channeling. Altan mocks Asa's poor signal recognition. Asa defends her faulty echo channeling while Altan warns that their plan depends on her accuracy.
Thinking of echo flow like wind.
Altan explains that unlike wind, the echo flow functions in multiple complex directions.
Altan demonstrates a swift sword technique as Asa watches closely with her umbrella.
Echo exists everywhere in the art. Asa concentrates on the shifting rivers of echo that flow within all living things. Asa identifies the precise echo point through her activated celestial eye.
The Urame echo moves with the stream while the Ishi echo remains stationary.
Imbuing an object with Ishi echo. Objects can move to different locations instantly through mastered echo manipulation. Altan offers to signal Asa if she struggles with the flow while she envies his natural talent. Altan teases Asa by calling her an airhead who daydreams instead of focusing on training. Asa chases Altan toward the tournament while he warns her they will be late.
The final sacred tournament begins.
A thick rope hangs over wire. Two teams prepare for the finals. Podge and Ko face their rivals.
The first team to pass the ball through the ring wins using any part of their body.
The woven ball flies through hair.
The chief starts the final match.
Opponents charge across the rushing river. Asa and Altan join a race.
A kick sends the ball flying. Asa leaps toward the floating gnaw. Asa prepares her Ishi echo imprint. Podge taunts Asa with aggressive threats while vowing to wash away her previous disgrace.
A massive water splash erupts here, Ma.
Podge vows to put Asa in her place as he chases the ball.
Podge misses his strike against Asa.
Podge scowls in frustration at Bisa. Podge rages after Asa successfully dodges his void collapse attack. Competitors scramble for the elusive ball. Asa mocks Podge's lack of progress.
Asa counterattacks with her red umbrella as she challenges Podge's ability to win.
Podge reels from Asa's unexpected nimruther.
Altan clashes with Ko and Rarks.
Podge recovers and demands help from his partner to secure the ball. Ko's whip entangles Altan's golden helmet. Ko knocks Altan back with force. Asa reacts in shock as her partner is on her mouth. Asa entrusts Altan with handling Kal. Altan readies himself despite the pressure. Asa declares it is finally showtime. Asa sprints toward the bobbin ball. Ko mocks Asa's speed while she prepares to activate the echo. Asa channels Ko echo into herself while drawing power from the great tidal current. Altan initiates Plan B after realizing Asa's timing is completely off. Asa crashes into the water embarrassingly as the chief and priest watch her total washout. Podge celebrates Ko's performance. Podge demands the ball as Asa's caught guard. Asa readies her red umbrella.
Asa, falling in the water, desperately tries to activate her power to reach the ball. Asa shouts, "Ah!" and thinks, "No, I can still reach it if I can activate my power."
Altan praises his sister for the distraction while delivering a powerful kick. Altan says, "You did a great job distracting them, little sister. Your spatial awareness could use more training, but..."
Podge reacts to the surprise maneuver while Altan wonders if they were being set up the whole time. Podge says, "Ah, damn, I didn't see that coming." And Altan thinks, "We were set up? Was this the plan all along?" Anyway. Altan fires the winning goal. Altan says, "Let's celebrate our victory." The crowd cheers as Ko's name is called out. Crowd says, "We did it!" And a voice calls, "Ko!" The announcer declares Asa and Altan as the tournament victors. Altan is embarrassed by the praise while Asa realizes he used her to set up his flashy finishing blow. Crowd says, "It's wonderful, Altan." And Altan responds, "Huh? No, well, don't embarrass me." Asa thinks, "What is this? Could this also be according to plan? You were using me while you stole the spotlight with your flashy finishing blow. Never mind, you deserve the spotlight this time, but next time I won't slip up." The priest praises the chief's children and asks if he has reached a decision. Priest says the tribal chief's children are amazing, and the chief asks, "Aren't they just? So have you decided then?" The chief smiles and says he has taught the two everything he possibly can. The chief entrusts the two children to Tenzin's care. Tenzin promises to look after the children as a dark presence looms. Tenzin says, "Yeah, I'll take care of them." Red chains glow in the dark. A monstrous figure appears behind the oblivious leaders. A chain lethally strikes the chief as Altan watches in horror. Altan says, "What? Tribal chief?" Tenzin begs his dying friend not to leave him. Tenzin says, "Oi, oi, don't go, don't leave me." A close-up of blood-stained red robes. A mysterious voice laments another senseless sacrifice. Voice thinks, another senseless sacrifice has occurred. Essa hides while the voice notes Tenzin's struggle with his friend's blood. Voice thinks, such sad losses, and they were innocent people. You too, Tenzin, staining your hands with your best friend's blood must be difficult. Altan asks, what just happened? Tenzin rages as the villains demand the Saint Beast. Voice thinks, hand over the Saint Beast.
The beast's eyes burn with hunger. The voice expresses weariness over the slaughter. Voice thinks, don't make me commit any more slaughter. This is becoming too much of a hassle to bear.
Title card for the series, Red Aura. Credits roll for the production team. Alton draws his swords over the chief's body and vows to stop the attackers. Asa says, such the tribal chief, and Alton shouts, don't think you'll get away with this so easily.
The villain understands Altan's desire for revenge, but quickly overwhelms him. Villain thinks, will you seek revenge? That's only natural. I understand. Altan's weapons shatter under the pressure. The three-eyed beast watches the pal. A warning is given about the fatal mistake of seeking revenge without wisdom. Voice thinks seeking revenge without wisdom and restraint is a fatal mistake.
Alton pushes himself for one final strike. Alton says, Alton, at least one more blow.
A massive explosion rips through the field as Asa screams for her brother. Asa says, Altan. Villagers flee in panic from the destruction. Voice says, run away. Altan stops Asa from screaming and tells her they must flee the unknown threat. Asa says, Alta, Alta, Alta. And Altan whispers, don't cry out. I'm fine. Just run for now, whoever they are. Altan realizes they are outmatched by the trio of villains.
Asa desperately looks for a way to save her friends as she recalls Ko and Podge. Asa thinks, no match? That can't be right. There must be something I can do. Something Ko and Podge.
Altan leads the group into the forest to evade their pursuers. Altan says, let's go, head into the forest and lose them.
The villains realize Tenzin has fled toward the forest. Horn villain thinks, where did Tenzin disappear to? And the masked woman says, that coward must have gone toward the forest.
The leader orders Mizuki to paint the forest red as they hunt the children. Leader thinks, with no one but the voice-guided priest to turn to, there's no room for choice. This sense of duty and human righteousness, the boy's resolve has decided your fate. You'll scatter like a fleeting flower. Let's see which one he abandons first. The leader says, Mizuki, paint the forest red.
Keijaku is commanded to let no one escape until the Saint Beast is found. Leader says, Keijaku, don't let a single one escape until we have the Saint Beast.
The survivors race through the trees while Ko and Podge wonder about the identity of their attackers. Ko says, what are those guys? Bandits? Assassins? And Podge says, who knows? Just focus on escaping.
Asa and Altan stop in their tracks.
They discover the corpses of the festival guards scattered across the forest floor. Asa says, the guards watching the festival, they're all dead.
Podge panics upon realizing their escape route is blocked. Podge says, dead, we've been cut off. The path to the neighboring tribe is blocked. The group stands over another falling warrior.
A dying guard urges the children to run before he passes away. Crowd says, look, there's still someone alive. And the guard whispers, a child, run.
A brilliant beam of energy cuts through the forest.
Mizuki celebrates her successful shot. Mizuki says, bullseye.
The archer admits that while she doesn't enjoy killing, she finds satisfaction in chasing her prey deep into the forest. Mizuki says, keep pursuing with purpose. Sending them deep inside feels so satisfying. Don't misunderstand me. It's not that I enjoy killing, but there's something about it that really gets to me.
Mizuki shivers with excitement as she draws her bow, noting that while her boss considers needless killing a sin, she has been given permission to do as she pleases today and refuses to hold back.
Asa orders everyone to hide behind her as she raises her red umbrella to shield the retreating group.
Multiple energy projectiles impact the umbrella's surface.
Mizuki is shocked that a child can perform matter solidification of Echo, while Asa stands her ground and vows that she won't let anyone else die.
Asa urges the others to run while Mizuki watches from a distance, becoming obsessed with the girl's natural talent and declaring that she wants her.
Mizuki mocks the fleeing group as little kittens while preparing her next shot.
A massive beam of energy pursues the children through the forest. Ko and Podge are brutally struck by the energy arrows as Asa screams their names in horror.
Altan grips Asa's hand and forces her to keep running despite the fallen guards and friends behind them.
Mizuki walks past the dying victims who desperately plead for their lives. Asa confronts Altan in a clearing, furiously demanding to know why he stopped her from trying to save their companions.
Altan clutches his head in despair and shouts that it was impossible for them to do anything to save the others.
The siblings stand in silence amidst the shadows of the forest.
The villain leader threatens Tenzin with a sword, promising to end the slaughter if the priest hands over the Saint Beast. Tenzin tries to explain that the Saint Beast won't be useful to the attackers and questions the purpose behind their extreme violence.
Asa and Altan watch from the brush as Asa realizes with horror that people were murdered for a mere piece of paper.
Asa recalls the bloodied bodies of the chief and the guards, her eyes glowing with celestial power. Altan attempts to restrain Asa as she prepares to step out of hiding.
Asa tells Altan to be quiet because she cannot stand aside while the villains do as they please.
Altan decides to join the fight and instructs Asa to carve the Ishi Echo into him as part of a new plan.
Keijaku is startled by a sudden presence.
A burst of echo energy ripples through the air.
Tenzin watches in shock as the two children suddenly appear to confront the masked villain.
Keijaku expresses total confusion over the little girl's sudden appearance.
Tenzin shouts in disbelief as an explosion of light rocks the battlefield. The siblings execute a high-speed maneuver. A heavy landing shatters the ground.
Keijaku charges forward with a punch while mocking the children for getting cocky. Asa and Altan move in perfect synchronization, surrounding their opponent with dark energy.
Keijaku reels from a sudden, powerful strike. A massive impact craters the earth as Tenzin asks what the children have done. Altan stands over the defeated Keijaku and declares that only he is allowed to lay hands on his sister after switching places with her.
Altan celebrates the success of their plan.
Asa rushes over to check if Altan is injured.
Altan assures her he is fine, while Tenzin realizes the two used Asa's echo to swap positions.
Asa wipes away her tears and tells Tenzin that with the two of them together, they are no longer just running away. Altan explains that he felt certain the Urame echo would reach its mark properly when he sent it along the current. Altan admits that Asa always comes through when it matters and offers to support her if her intuition fails. Tenzin asks if the two children truly mean to face the rest of the attackers. Asa smiles and confirms that is exactly what they intend to do. The siblings stand ready for battle, declaring they are finished with running and will take on the villains now.
The title card for the series Red Aura appears.
Production credits are displayed on screen. Tenzin tells the children not to be ridiculous because of their age. The priest realizes this is not a tournament and that losing means certain death. Asa defiantly asks when they should act if not right now. Altan tells Tenzin to help with the plan instead of complaining, but stops as he asks why Tenzin is being hunted.
A flash of green energy signals that the group has been discovered. Blood splatters across the screen as Asa screams Tenzin's name.
The villain leader stands over the bleeding priest and mocks the pathetic groaning of his victims.
The villain leader demands the artifact to end the bloodshed while the horned man struggles to control his bloodlust.
Tenzin looks on with gritted teeth and asks the attackers for the reason behind their extreme violence. The priest worries about the significance of the item and the danger if it falls into evil hands. Tenzin tells the villains he understands and offers the paper to protect the children from any more danger.
Asa suddenly snatches the paper and sprints away, declaring she will not allow the killers to succeed. Asa taunts the villains to try catching the paper while she and Altan run through the field.
The leader commands Mizuki to act, and she acknowledges the order immediately. The horned villain spins his golden cylinder to unleash a swarm of magical, iridescent bubbles. Altan realizes they are no longer being followed, but he suddenly clutches his head in pain. The siblings find themselves surrounded by a strange, shimmering energy field in the clearing. Rainbow-colored bubbles float around the confused children as they search for an escape. Asa and Altan realize too late that they are trapped within a magical snare. A powerful, radiant attack suddenly bursts from the bubble field and strikes the children. The force of the explosion sends the siblings sliding backward across the grass. Altan warns that bombs are falling from the sky as a massive crater is blasted into the ground. The black-haired boy screams for Asa to watch her back against the descending bubbles. Asa uses her red umbrella to parry a swift energy projectile. Shards of magical energy are deflected by the boy's defensive maneuvers. Asa strikes one of the bubbles with the tip of her Alela. The horned villain is stunned to see his magical barrier suddenly disappear without warning. Altan stands ready with his sword as a dark silhouette lunges at him from above. The magical bubbles pop in a chaotic series of energy flares. Altan is brutally struck by a cross-slash that shatters his weapons and wounds him. Altan lies injured on the ground as Asa cries out for him in a panic. Asa stares at her brother's battered and bloody face as he struggles to speak.
A close-up of Altan's face shows his eye beginning to glow with an intense blue light.
A sudden surge of green energy pulls the children away from their current position.
The masked archer Mizuki unleashes a flurry of green energy arrows at the targets.
Altan tells the group to keep moving as green projectiles rain down on them. Asa observes Tenzin kneeling in a field of red energy while being lured in by a dark presence. Altan calls out to Asa as she brandishes her umbrella and the paper. Asa vows to shred the paper to pieces and send it back to her enemies. The horned villain charges forward to stop Asa as she swings her umbrella with immense power. A massive blast of blue energy shatters the ground and crushes the attacker's hand. Altan screams for his sister as she is engulfed in a pillar of blue light. Asa finds herself floating upside down in a vast blue cosmic void filled with stars. In the starry abyss, Asa wonders where she is and hears many unintelligible voices talking at once. A giant swirling vortex of pink and red energy looms over the girl in space. Asa clutches her head in pain as a massive amount of information flows into her mind.
Back on the battlefield, Asa struggles against dark vines and screams that she must help Altan.
A glowing green symbol flares across a dark star-filled cosmic background. A system message states that the cycles of life and death are strings twisted from the beginning. Altan weeps and begs Asa to wake up as he holds her close to his chest. Asa slowly regains consciousness and asks her brother what happened during her vision.
The villains observe the empty crater and wonder what became of their target.
The leader laments that their long journey was for nothing and orders everyone to be killed.
Mizuki aims her bow and tells the children they will play again in the next world.
Altan supports a dazed Asa as they stand together against the swirling leaves.
A rain of green energy arrows falls from the sky toward the standing siblings.
Asa grinds her teeth and prepares to defend herself against the incoming assault.
Luminous green projectiles rain from the sky. The girl resolves that she can succeed. Asa's eyes glow with celestial stars. Asa struggles to block the assault with her umbrella, thinking that she is barely managing to defend what is directly in front of her.
The girl notices a critical opening.
The girl wonders if the opponent noticed her while a bloodied hand reaches toward her.
Violent red gashes fill the air. Asa is thrown backward in tears. Altan stands broken and bleeding heavily. The boy smiles through the blood.
Blood pours from the child's mouth.
The wounded boy finally collapses forward.
Altan lies motionless in a pool.
A voice calls out Altan's name. Asa stares in shivering, absolute horror. A villain's boot stands over the fallen. Tenzin watches the tragedy from afar.
Asa screams her brother's name.
Tenzin drags the sobbing girl away.
Monstrous shadows loom over the body as a voice commands the others not to let the survivors escape. Trapped on a cliff, Tenzin wonders if this is the end before an explosion erupts near the horned villain.
Two masked killers observe the destruction. The priest resolves to jump, shouting that he has the plan.
Tenzin and the girl fall together.
A massive splash in the ocean. The two wash up on shore.
Tenzin declares that they won't be chased any further now that they have made it to the coast. The man reaches out and asks the girl if she is Repay.
Asa kneels in the grass, Shitterer.
A bloodied mouth smiles in memory.
A flashback shows Altan and Asa running together as a voice asks if she had been bored.
In a vision, the boy's final words echo as he reaches a hand out for her. Happy memories of children watching ants. The dying boy's bloodied face fades.
Darkness swallows the final lingering memory.
Reality returns to the bloodied battlefield.
A single leaf falls in silence.
Asa breaks down into uncontrollable sobbing.
A final message pleads for her to live on in another's place.
Production and translation credits appear on screen.
Sometime later, Asa urges Tenzin to hurry because the steamship is leaving, while Tenzin asks if she couldn't have finished breakfast first. Asa cheers as they spot the fish-shaped steamship and declares they can finally head to the sacred city.
Tenzin trips and begs Asa not to leave him behind as she sprints away. Tenzin complains about forgetting food, while Asa notes the man cannot move when he is this hungry. Workers hauling heavy boxes of meat discuss their greedy boss and their full bellies as Asa catches a delicious scent.
A laborer shouts, asking why it is always them doing the work.
A hungry Asa charges at the workers.
The workers panic as they mistake the girl for a wild boar, screaming for her not to eat them because they are too fatty and high-calorie.
A worker begs the Creator King for help, screaming that he doesn't want to die with his high-calorie companion.
Tenzin chases after Asa, shouting for her to calm down and sit as she devours a piece of meat.
Tenzin realizes they are heading the wrong way.
Tenzin asks if they are lost while Asa eats chicken.
The girl spits out a bone after finishing her stack.
Asa sniffs the air for more potential food traps.
The girl excitedly claims she has solved the mystery. Detectives usually follow clues, not their cravings.
Tenzin criticizes her for making decisions with her stomach.
Asa gives a confident thumbs up while falling.
The duo jumps off a cliff, startling a bird.
They plummet down toward the forest canopy below.
Asa cheers while Tenzin falls in absolute terror. Tenzin hits every branch on the way down. Gravity is a harsh teacher for the priest. Asa offers chicken while Tenzin yells at her.
They find themselves surrounded by a hostile, armed mob.
Tenzin spots a glowing blue gem among the plates. Asa mistakes the crisis for a buffet opportunity.
A worker suggests burning calories through a violent fight.
Asa tries to return the chicken bone in haddock.
The girl blocks a worker strike with her umbrella while he demands she wash the bone.
A blue-haired man ignores her words and charges forward.
Asa assumes a defensive combat stance with her umbrella.
A close-up reveals Asa's eye glowing with celestial stars.
Asa vaults over her attacker with incredible agility.
The blue-haired man is enraged by her elusive maneuvers.
The attacker lunges forward with daggers drawn and bared teeth. Asa delivers a powerful, aura-infused kick to the face. The girl strikes a cheerful and confident pose. Asa continues to kick through the waves of workers.
Asa screams in outrage about someone stepping on her shoe.
The girl mocks the workers while they cart her. Asa strikes down several workers simultaneously with a spin.
The girl lands a heavy knee strike on Arpadir. A boss with a massive pompadour and white coat appears.
Tenzin and Asa listen as the boss laments his interrupted preen day.
The boss screams in a purple fury about the chicken.
Asa cheerfully invites the angry boss to join him.
The boss attacks and Asa criticizes his ungentlemanly behavior.
Asa jokes about Tenzin's taste in women while fighting. A fish-shaped ship sounds its loud, echoing whistle.
Tenzin dodges a strike and urges Asa to hurry.
The boss charges a massive glowing punch at Asa.
Asa grinds her teeth as the heavy blow nears. The boss smashes the ground with immense cratering force. The attacker glares upward after his missed strike. Asa erupts with a powerful, glowing blue energy wah.
The girl delivers a crushing aura-enhanced downward kick.
The boss collapses in a daze after the heady hit. Asa stands ready as green energy flares around her.
A mysterious man in a hat clicks a metal device.
Tenzin offers his back for Asa to Leon. Asa mocks Tenzin for offering help so late in the feint.
A boot steps over a small metallic device.
Workers restrain the silver-haired Tenzin and Asa while criticizing their dishonorable fighting style.
Asa's celestial eye glows with a star.
The Pompadour boss glares through the smoke.
Workers panic about the departing steamship while struggling to carry heavy crates through the woods.
Tenzin and Asa sit bound on the ground before a wall of mysterious script.
Tenzin ignores a delirious Asa's complaints about her shoes to mention a 2-year travel delay. Asa reacts with explosive shock and anger at the prospect of a 2-year delay.
Tenzin remains calm, suggesting there is no need to rush their tourney. The duo sits bound in the middle of a massive crater.
Asa playfully teases Tenzin about being lonely once she finally travels to the sacred city. Tenzin laughs off the girl's pride as she begins to move away. An overwhelming force crashes down on the two companions.
A red-haired woman with goggles emerges from the dirt, disappointed that Asa is in treasure.
The workers grumble about having to reload heavy cargo because of the earlier chaos. Asa lunges forward and bites the red-haired intruder sack. Asa demands an apology while pinning the crying red-haired woman to the ground. The red-haired woman shouts a frantic apology while Tenzin asks them to be quiet.
Asa delivers a powerful punch to even the score. The two girls square off and argue about who gets to land the next hit.
Tenzin despairs as the girls continue their brawl while the mob approaches in the background.
Asa notices a shiny object lodged in the ground. Asa prepares to pull a mysterious device despite the red-haired woman's panicked warnings. Asa triggers the device, resulting in a sudden blast.
The scene blurs during a racket to Fett. A massive explosion erupts, leaving the group wondering what happened. Tenzin holds a dazed Asa as red eyes glow within the thick smoke.
Lethal red beams shoot out from the darkness toward the startled survivors.
A small wheeled robot strikes Asa in the face. Tenzin catches the unconscious girl in a panic. The silver-haired man desperately tries to wake the slumped Asa. A blinding pillar of light consumes the area.
Asa screams as a torrent of fire erupts from her mouth.
Agonized cries signal that something is about to break. A frustrated Asa struggles to dismantle the smoking, malfunctioning robot. The red-haired woman rejoices as Asa returns the small robot companion.
The red-haired woman celebrates her reunion while Asa looks on with sheer irritation.
Asa turns away, declaring her intent to reach the steamship immediately.
The group flees from the workers as the red-haired woman explains the robot's importance.
Asa bombards the woman with a flurry of curious questions about the robot. The red-haired woman angrily warns Asa not to treat her companion like a toy. The red-haired woman becomes somber, explaining the robot is her only remaining possession. Celestial stars shimmer in Asa's focused eyes. A nostalgic vision of two children holding hands in a bright field. Asa offers a moment of silent comfort to the red-haired woman. The red-haired woman smiles warmly, acknowledging the girl's hidden kindness. A flustered Asa blushes and mechs away. The red-haired woman grabs Asa and sprints toward the steamship.
Green leaves drift through the clear sky.
The group reaches the coast, where the red-haired engineer boasts about her unmatched skills.
Asa assists with gathering debris while innocently asking what an engineer actually is.
The red-haired engineer reacts with bug-eyed disbelief at the girl's ignorance. The engineer explains that they build everything from tools to furnaces, leading Tenzin to facepalm over Asa's belief that appliances were magic. While fleeing a mob, the engineer clarifies that unlike conduits who use inner strength, engineers harness the surrounding echo. The red-haired woman presents a patched-up teddy bear and prepares to demonstrate her craft. A massive blast scatters the pursuers, leaving Asa in awe while Tenzin begs them to wait. The engineer promises an even higher level of power before a secondary explosion leaves Tenzin in a state of traumatized shock. A deafening horn signal alerts the group that their transport is departing. The companions watch in despair as the steamship sails further into the open ocean.
The engineer commands Tenzin to grab a rope, sparking an argument about his age and status as a mere uncle.
The woman quickly knots the rope and instructs her companions to loop it over their shoulders. While Asa is thrilled by the mystery, Tenzin looks on with dread as they are bound together for the engineer's next move. The red-haired woman stomps down on a sack of scrap to stabilize their makeshift vessel. Seated atop the bound cargo, the engineer declares everything ready for launch. The woman offers a smirk and an apology, inviting Asa to take the handle for their impending departure. A gloved hand firmly grips the trigger handle. A violent explosion rocks the dock as the group is propelled upward. A blinding flash of light consumes the surroundings. Debris and smoke trail behind the launched group as they soar through the sky. The trio screams as they are flung through the air with incredible velocity.
Streaks of white smoke mark their chaotic path across the blue sky.
Fragments of scrap fall alongside the plummeting companions. Tenzin's face distorts in pure terror as the engineer realizes things aren't going exactly as planned.
The tiny silhouette of the steamship appears far below them in the vast ocean.
Gravity takes hold as the group begins a rapid, uncontrolled descent. Panicked cries fill the air as they realize the fall might be fatal.
Motion lines emphasize the staggering speed of their fall.
Mid-fall, Asa desperately reaches out and urges Tenzin to take her hand. The engineer commands them to stay calm as they huddle together in the air. Asa focuses her energy, hoping their trajectory will land them safely on the vessel.
A swirl of celestial blue aura surrounds the falling girl.
A bright flash signals their nearing impact with the ship. The group crashes onto the metal deck, with the engineer realizing she miscalculated the landing.
The red-haired woman spots a new opening and points it out to her dazed friends. A dark chute offers a potential escape route to ensure their survival.
The engineer reaches into her bag of shimmering cosmic energy to attempt a risky maneuver. A massive mechanical drill materializes, and the woman prepares to pilot it through the floor.
The small robot atop the machine charges its eyes to maximum output.
The heavy drill slams into the metal surface with a resounding metallic clang. The group spins wildly as they descend into the ship's interior. Sparks fly as the drill bores a hole through the ventilation shafts. The companions plummet down the dark, narrow peg.
A bright light marks the end of their vertical journey.
They finally land in a massive, cluttered pile of industrial scrap. Birds fly peacefully in the clear sky outside the hall. Inside the dark hold, the group recovers while voices shout about someone eating their supplies. A sudden strike catches Asa off guard as a stranger rejects their presence. Chibi versions of the group encounter new faces, including a youth named Jibo, while a boy in a hat defends his dreams. The engineer tries to charm a boy in a cone hat into letting her see his mysterious scroll. Identifying a power module, the engineer begs the dark-haired youth for a closer look while he resists her advances. The engineer and Jibo struggle over the scroll while she insists on taking a quick look.
The red-haired girl with braids asks what a country bumpkin would understand, leading the engineer to accuse her of being a little thief rat planning to steal it.
The girl clarifies she is merely ensuring the wonderful EcoCraft crystal is working properly while rejecting any thanks. Jibo argues about winning at the amusement park to leave the garbage dump while the engineer tells him to hand over the device and play nice in the sand. A mechanical device shatters into pieces under intense pressure.
Asa, Tenzin, and the engineer scream in unison as they witness the sudden destruction.
The silver-haired man pins the red-haired intruder to the ground while calling her a bastard. Asa screams in a panic, warning the others not to mess with her. The engineer uses a welding tool to fix the broken device, boasting that they are lucky she is a certified professional capable of repairing such damage. As the engineer celebrates the repair, Tenzin criticizes the younger girl for not being grown up herself while she claims it is too dangerous for kids. Jibo declares that the amusement park is for the strong to change their lives and the birthplace of legendary nomads. Jibo reveals that the power module provides the fastest wings to reach the ship's upper levels. Jibo unveils his colossal armored power suit while the companions watch with starry-eyed wonder. The red-haired girl explains they have been fighting in the amusement park for 6 months to defeat the Crushers. Jibo stares into the distance, longing for his eventual freedom. Asa expresses her understanding of Jibo's intense resolve and his long struggle. Asa encourages Jibo while he explains that true nomads pursue their big dreams with all their might regardless of winning or losing. Jibo introduces his companions while the mechanical suit accidentally strikes a dazed Acer. Asa introduces her group while excitedly touching the glowing mechanical suit. 3 companions share a serious look as they prepare for the next phase of their journey. Asa brawls with Jibo as she demands a turn to wear the armored suit. A crying Asa lies on the ground after being scolded for almost breaking the equipment. Jibo reacts with shock when the engineer mentions they have less than 5 minutes left. Jibo leads the way toward the upper levels while the others realize they need tickets to proceed. A crowd of people moves through the dimly lit industrial hallway. The engineer and the braided girl walk together toward the next checkpoint. The group receives instructions to head up the stairs and pass the guards at the middle pillar. The 2 groups wave goodbye and wish each other luck for their respective goals. Asa and Tenzin present their tickets to the mustache-wearing guards at the gate. Asa cheers happily as the guards allow them to pass through the archway. A joyful Asa celebrates reaching their destination with Tenzin. A guard suddenly stops them, declaring that those without tickets cannot pass. The engineer argues that they are all companions and demands the guards be more flexible. A guard forcefully strikes the engineer while shouting that lower-level citizens aren't allowed to climb up. The guards suspect the tickets might be fakes while the engineer offers to let them check again. Tenzin tries to calm a furious Asa while the echoing scream of Jibo suddenly rings out. Asa looks over the railing in horror as she hears the commotion below. The remains of the shattered armored power suit lie scattered across the floor. A massive, bearded man known as the Crusher looms over the defeated Jibo and his companions while the crowd calls for their execution. Asa's eyes widen in terror as she witnesses her new friends being brutalized. Asa slams the railing, demanding the spectators shut up and declaring the battle is over.
The guards laugh and mock the newcomers, stating that on this ship it is a matter of eating or being eaten.
Asa begins to remove her heavy travel pack with a grim expression.
A brilliant blue star ignites within Asa's focused celestial eye. The guards recoil in fear as an intimidating aura begins to emanate from the girl.
A guard nervously warns Asa about making enemies of the Kark tribe.
Asa delivers a devastating high-speed punch that sends the guard flying.
The remaining guard screams in terror as he witnesses his partner's instant defeat.
Asa demands to know the real name of the man called the Crusher.
Asa's glowing blue eye narrows as she fixates on her next helmet.
A monstrous, dark-eyed figure roars with primal fury.
The massive, tattooed Crusher flexes for the crowd as Asa's group watches from the balcony.
A man in a dark hat mocks the newcomer's boldness while the spectators warn that she will get killed.
A close-up reveals a face distorted by a fierce, echoing scream. The Crusher points toward the balcony and demands to know what the intruders want.
Asa shouts back a vulgar threat, promising to rip the Crusher's horns off and shove them up his backside.
The Crusher reacts to the girl's defiance with a terrifying, wide-mouthed roar. The Crusher slams his staff down, claiming that lower-level citizens have no right to dreams and mocking Jabot's fallen group. The Crusher looms over his victims, sneering at the low-born wretches for thinking they could ever become someone important. Tenzin places his hands on Asa's shoulders, reminding her that their true goal is to reach the 10-Pillar tribe.
Asa looks down at the one-way ticket pass held in her hand.
A worried Tenzin asks what Asa is trying to do as she presents the ticket. Asa tears the ticket to pieces, declaring that ignoring the Crusher's insults would be the same as accepting his twisted logic. Asa asserts that they cannot move forward toward their own dreams without first proving the Crusher is wrong.
Tenzin agrees with Asa's resolve, reaching out to support her decision.
Tenzin joins the two women, declaring they will stand together to prove the Crushers are wrong. A single bubble reinforces their commitment to face the challenge together. The crowd shouts insults at Jibo's bloodied and defeated companions, demanding the losers be disposed of quickly. The red-haired engineer eagerly prepares for a fight, expressing her desire to kick the muscle-headed moron. A youth wearing a red monkey mask drops down from a rope with a wide, toothy grin. The monkey-masked youth and the red-haired engineer share a silent, bewildered look. The monkey-masked youth somersaults through the air, telling the group they are lucky. Swinging on his rope, the monkey-masked youth begins to explain the current situation. The monkey-masked youth leans in close, revealing that a new opening has just appeared. A group of men on a distant dock watches the ship sail away while asking for a refund for their missed voyage. The monkey-masked youth promises a glorious debut on the upper deck, officially selecting the trio as alternate participants for the tournament. Hanging upside down, the energetic youth encourages the alliance as they prepare to move from obscurity toward their goal. A blinding flash of light accompanies a declaration that destiny is calling, and the voices of the crowd are rising. The monkey-masked youth swings between the two women, describing the series of triumphs and the splendid show they will provide for the crowd. The masked youth points downward, promising to send them off once they successfully reach the top level. The youth teases Asa about playing tag, claiming he is as fast as the wind and telling her not to cry. The monkey-masked youth invites the champion to step onto the stage and seize their glory.
Asa yells at the annoying monkey to shut up and agrees to the fight, while the engineer clarifies that she herself won't be participating in the combat.
Asa tells Lanji and Tenzin to stand back while she prepares to find other companions for the match. The monkey-masked youth swings away, announcing the show starts in 3 minutes, leaving Asa looking dazed. Asa enthusiastically grabs Tenzin, assuming he was planning to join her in the battle. Tenzin reluctantly agrees to be the third member, but insists that the two women handle all the actual fighting.
Asa cheers and prepares to head into the arena while Tenzin clutches his head in despair.
A bold graphic announces the arrival of the red aura phase of the journey. An announcer's voice booms across the massive industrial arena, welcoming the ladies, gentlemen, and the brat kids.
A youth with an afro wears a thick coat and drinks boba, ignoring the comments about how hot it is in the arena.
Asa and the red-haired engineer plan their attack, with Asa deciding to take on the grumpy opponent first.
Asa lunges forward while her opponent continues to sip his drink, signaling the start of the fight. Tenzin begs for teamwork as Asa charges, only for the afro-haired youth to mock her with a quip about deep-fried birds. Asa delivers a powerful, high-speed kick that connects with her opponent's midsection.
Asa stares in surprise at her opponent after landing a heavy strike.
The afro-haired youth remains unfazed, calmly patting his thick purple coat as if checking for dust.
The red-haired engineer charges toward a different opponent, an older man standing in her path.
The old man smiles with a missing tooth as he unleashes a powerful, wavy purple aura from his body.
The red-haired engineer looks on as the old man's intense energy waves wash over the battlefield.
The old man releases a powerful, wavy purple aura as Asa and Lanji prepare to strike. Asa delivers a high-speed kick to the afro-haired youth who remains unfazed while holding his drink. Asa reacts with shock as small blue spirits suddenly appear where the monkey-masked youth touched her back. The monkey-masked youth taunts the girl, calling her a brat, while Asa shouts back in a rage. Asa threatens to spank the youth when she catches him, while the afro-haired youth starts a rap about ice crystals rising.
Annoyed by the constant chatter, Asa demands the afro-haired youth stop talking to her.
The afro-haired youth continues his cold proclamation, dismissing Asa's provocations as sheer emptiness while he sips his drink.
Asa shouts that absolutely nobody is interested in what the afro-haired youth has to say.
Lanji cries out as she is struck, while the afro-haired youth mocks Asa for her broken focus and disrupted flow.
Asa lands a firm punch on the afro-haired youth, mocking his lack of speed.
Asa shivers from a sudden, intense chill, realizing too late that she has been touched by her opponent. The monkey-masked youth mocks Asa's lack of growth and tells her to get more calcium while dodging her attacks. Asa asks if Lanji's magic backpack contains a cure for the old man's bad feeling. Lanji explains that she is currently miniaturizing the backpack and can only grab random items from the very top. Lanji presents an airtight drink container she invented as a child, claiming she has finally overcome its tendency to get stuck.
Lanji throws a blast of purple, skull-patterned energy toward the old man.
Tenzin asks Lanji if she was actually trying to force someone to drink her old invention.
Lanji admits the old mixture stench is strong enough to knock down a cow, while the old man holds his nose.
Asa is bewildered by the old man's fluid movements, wondering if his skeleton is made of jellyfish.
Asa attacks the monkey-masked youth as the afro-haired youth continues his rap about eternal frost.
Asa screams in agony as she watches her own hands begin to freeze from the intense cold air. Asa complains about the temperature becoming even colder than it was before. Asa realizes that the afro-haired youth's lyrics are directly causing the environment to freeze solid.
Asa prepares her umbrella for a counterattack as she contemplates a new strategy.
Asa unleashes a brilliant flare of blue energy while the afro-haired youth continues to watch calmly. Asa charges at the afro-haired youth, arguing that freezing should make things slower, not harder to hit. The old man and the monkey-masked youth discuss instantaneous teleportation while Asa rants at them. Asa focuses her energy and prepares her weapon for the next exchange. The monkey-masked youth lunges forward with a predatory grin. A massive red sound effect signifies a powerful sudden impact. Furious and shaken, Asa demands the monkey-masked youth stop his perverted behavior. A glowing purple hand hovers in the darkness as the monkey-masked youth dismisses his bad habits. Tenzin grabs the youth, warning him that he'll eventually see a lecherous middle-aged man in the mirror. Asa collapses to the floor as her body suddenly feels incredibly heavy. A close-up reveals a small, round blue spirit with a curious expression. Several blue spirits float into the air as Tenzin and the monkey-masked youth watch them escape. Lanji yells that the strange spirits are emerging from every spot where the monkey-masked youth touched Asa. Lanji and Asa scramble to catch the escaping spirits before they can get away. Lanji reaches out to catch a blue spirit, only for it to slip through her fingers.
Lanji and the monkey-masked youth run past each other in a frantic chase.
A close-up shows a gloved hand attempting to grab an object. Lanji reveals her never-losing watch that siphons echo, warning it might explode every 100 seconds. Lanji determines she can manage without the dangerous invention and prepares to keep fighting. Lanji throws a spinning object toward the monkey-masked youth as he runs through the arena.
A round watch spins rapidly through the air.
Lanji screams in frustration, wishing she had designed the device with less air resistance. The afro-haired youth delivers a crushing punch that sends Asa reeling backward. Someone successfully captures a blue spirit within their grasp. The monkey-masked youth celebrates his victory after stuffing a captured spirit into his star-shaped bag. The old man remarks that he could have snatched 7 of them if it were the usual coolie. The afro-haired youth claims victory early, calling the trio fools as he sips his drink.
A brown-haired youth salutes the audience, promising the next stage of the battle will be even more entertaining.
Tenzin realizes that the enemy's strategy relies on touching their opponents without being noticed to activate their abilities.
Tenzin informs Asa and Lanji that the opponents lack direct attack power and are using 2 members as diversions.
A flashback reveals that the monkey-masked youth's obscene acts were intentional maneuvers to lure the trio into a trap. Tenzin believes that understanding the enemy's logic will cause their entire plan to collapse. The old man and the afro-haired youth stand together, noting that Asa only needs to be captured 3 more times. Chunks of ice float through the air, bearing the words of the afro-haired youth's ongoing rap. The afro-haired youth continues his rhythmic insults, vowing to knock out the trio while they look on defiantly. Floating ice shards proclaim the afro-haired youth's status as the emperor of a frozen world. The afro-haired youth sips his drink, telling his opponents that they must now face the full extent of his power. Asa calculates that if she keeps the monkey-masked youth from attacking, they can maintain a balanced 2-on-2 fight. The old man mocks the youth for wasting time while the afro-haired youth gathers intense blue energy in his arm. A massive shockwave of blue energy pushes Asa and Lanji across the industrial floor. Tenzin warns Asa of an incoming attack from the left as the old man speeds toward her. Asa narrowly dodges the old man's strike, only to find a finger pointed directly at her from the shadows. Asa's eye widens in shock as she realizes she has fallen into a trap.
A powerful strike sends Asa tumbling through the air as the old man continues his dance.
Gritting her teeth in a fit of rage, Asa prepares to unleash her full fury.
Violent red energy surges as Asa contemplates returning to her old, brutal way of living. Tenzin cries out for Yariwido as she realizes she was the primary target of the enemy's coordination all along.
Lanji charges forward with a massive brown sack, aiming a desperate strike at the afro-haired youth.
Lanji is struck by a blast of blue energy, causing her tools and spare parts to scatter across the arena. Lanji looks at her gloved hand, trying to remember a specific invention she once created.
Lanji realizes she has the perfect tool for the current situation hidden within her backpack.
Lanji reaches deep into her storage bag, excited to have found exactly what she was looking for. Lanji brandishes a large yellow vacuum device, shouting insults at her opponents as she prepares to fire.
A vision of young Lanji reveals she built this device at age 8 while working in a junkyard.
Lanji warns that the device is dangerous because it can never be fixed once it gets clogged with filth.
Lanji declares there is only one way to handle the situation as she reaches for the activation switch.
Lanji presses a red button on her device, explaining that this specific feature was designed to solve her childhood problem. The vacuum roars to life with a powerful blast, sending a torrent of air toward the enemies. A massive eruption of garbage, junk, and debris flies out of Lanji's invention toward the stunned opponents.
The old man is forced to dodge a flying bottle and a rain of liquid truss. The afro-haired youth uses his ice-covered arm to parry a wave of incoming garbage and waste.
The monkey-masked youth screams in disgust after being hit in the face with foul-smelling slime.
Lanji laughs maniacally, delighted to finally see her childhood invention used in a real battle. The monkey-masked youth flees the area, shouting that the trash is grosser than the rats in a sewer. Tenzin realizes the afro-haired youth's rap is a double trap that fuels the freezing environment with every verse. Tenzin analyzes the team's coordination, seeing how the old man protects the rapper to create openings for the third member. Tenzin concludes the enemies are a stage-strengthening type that grows more dangerous the longer the battle lasts.
Debris swirls around the arena as Tenzin struggles to uncover the true nature of the monkey-masked youth's ability.
A fountain of liquid and junk erupts into the air, obscuring the battlefield.
Lanji uses the recoil of her vacuum to fly as Tenzin worries that the enemy will reach Asa first.
Focusing her energy, Asa contemplates using a special technique while searching for a flaw she can exploit.
The afro-haired youth continues his rap, describing the blizzard of puke raining down from the slums.
A memory of a lonely child in the rain surfaces as the afro-haired youth holds his boba cup.
Rap lyrics etched in ice mock the trio's doubts and lack of a clear goal. The afro-haired youth stands ready as his lyrics describe a dance of death rolling over thin ice. A close-up of the afro-haired youth's eye reveals his cold, unwavering focus on the battle.
The afro-haired youth stands defiantly amidst floating ice shards. Lanji looks on with an expression of sudden concern.
The enemy trio stands together as icy energy swirls around them.
Descending from above, Lanji shouts a challenge to the afro-haired youth.
Yurito reacts with shock as a bright flash erupts behind her.
Narration explains that echo flows are attracted to each other like stellar gravity.
Yaruito realizes the enemy is strengthening his echo flow and lunges for an opening.
A brilliant white explosion marks the intense collision of echo energy.
Dark swirling energy plumes erupt from the center of the battlefield.
Yaruito realizes the echo flow is too chaotic to read while worrying about the orange-haired youth.
Tenzin contemplates a new strategy to buy time as Yaruito trips over a gourd.
Yaruito falls backward after stumbling over a large purple bottle. Yaruito decides to embed an Ishii echo mark into the bottle to gain an advantage.
Yurito grins deviously as she prepares to use the marked gourd.
Yurito charges forward, declaring that her plan is better than doing nothing.
The old man mocks the youth while a massive purple blur flies toward him.
A purple energy mark glows brightly before a sudden, freezing explosion.
The afro-haired youth looks on in shock as the energy dissipates. Yaruito lunges from above, catching the afro-haired youth off guard. Yaruito strikes downward with her red umbrella weapon against the youth's defense.
A powerful impact creates a massive shockwave across the industrial floor.
The afro-haired youth blocks the strike with his ice-covered arm. The afro-haired youth mocks Yaruito's skill while remarking that she is good for a girl. The orange-haired youth grabs Yaruito and asks if she is letting herself be captured on purpose.
Yaruito kicks her captor away with a powerful spinning strike.
Yaruito attacks again but is startled by a repetitive, strange sound.
Yaruito realizes her body will not move correctly as the old man watches her struggle. The orange-haired youth delivers a barrage of rapid-fire punches to the immobile Yaruito. The afro-haired youth restrains Yaito as she realizes she cannot escape while the sound plays.
Dark despair overcomes Yaruito as she reaches her physical limit. Lanji catches the falling Yaruito as a purple mist begins to rise around them.
A close-up shows Yaruito's weary eyes as she begins to lose consciousness.
Lanji throws her pink container, offering the enemies a taste of her special salty lemonade. A massive purple explosion of ammonia gas fills the arena. Lanji explains her drink became smelling salts, and Yaruito vows never to drink her creations.
Distant voices call out the names of the Tiurballs.
Tenzin hugs his students, thanking the creator for their safety. Tenzin explains that the orange-haired youth's invisibility cancels upon physical contact. Tenzin analyzes the enemy's attack pattern, noting that simple touching is insufficient for their goal.
Tenzin concludes the enemies must touch without being noticed and tells the girls to watch each other.
Tenzin encourages them to focus on the old man and use superior coordination. Yaruito and Lanji banter about being deadweight and the complexity of Lanji's robot.
Lanji smiles confidently and promises to put on a flashy performance.
The trio joins hands in a show of solidarity and determination.
A hand in a tattered glove reaches out from the darkness. A close-up of Yarurito's eye reveals her sudden realization of a new threat.
The orange-haired youth appears behind Yaruito, mockingly assuring her that he is fine. Jagged red letters proclaim the arrival of a dangerous new aura. The orange-haired youth looms behind Yaruito in the shadows of the arena.
Glowing blue spirits drift through the air with malicious expressions.
The bandaged cat-eared youth leaps through the air as blue spirits drift overhead.
The cat-eared youth boasts that stealing Echo was effortless, claiming his life of survival as a pickpocket made such a feat simple.
A flashback shows the cat-eared youth as a young boy fleeing a pursuer, declaring that someone of Yarurito's level could never avoid his refined thievery. Seen through a specialized lens, a massive yellow symbol looms over the trio as they stand in a digital arena. Inverted silhouettes of the old man opponent and Lanji appear within floating oval windows.
A close-up reveals a menacing, jagged-toothed grin.
The bandaged cat-eared youth generates a powerful spiral of energy as he spins forward.
A massive, glowing, paw-like strike descends with incredible force.
Yaruito watches in horror as a devastating energy strike slams into Lanji. A brilliant beam of white energy blasts through the battlefield, clearing a wide path. Spiraling toward his next targets, the bandaged youth charges at the old man and the afro-haired rapper. The cat-eared youth is shocked to find his speed has been countered by the afro-haired youth's defense. Lanji groans in pain while clutching her head, wondering what kind of attack just hit her.
A desperate cry for Tenzin echoes through the thick clouds of dust.
The afro-haired youth is stunned that the wounded Tenzin was fast enough to respond to his most advanced combat form. Yaruito lunges forward in a panic, inadvertently stepping on a large purple bottle as the old man watches. A massive explosion of purple gas erupts, completely obscuring the center of the arena.
In the thick mist, Yaruito is startled as a hand reaches out and questions her actions.
Lanji reveals she used the smoke to buy them 45 minutes to strategize and land a decisive blow to avenge Tenzin. Lanji explains the smoke smells like a foul mixture of wasabi and fermented fish sauce she aged for a year. Lanji presents the Zuto Friend Bracelet, an invention that uses warm feelings of friendship to keep companions together.
Yaruito questions the usefulness of a bracelet that can only be removed when the whole group is together.
Lanji clarifies that friends wearing the bracelet will feel constant pain when separated until they reunite. Lanji details her plan to lure the pervert and the old man into the smoke and trap them with the friendship bracelets.
A confused Yaruito tries to wrap her head around the complexities of the plan.
Lanji argues that the fog levels the playing field, making it impossible for the enemies to hear or see their movements. Lanji gleefully anticipates finally getting revenge for all the times the monkey-masked youth harassed them.
Yaruito warns that her fingers are still numb from the cold and won't thaw before the fog dissipates.
Lanji proudly brandishes a pair of large orange mittens she created during her childhood on the streets to combat the freezing cold. Lanji admits the gloves were originally failures because they drained heat and made the wearer's hands even colder. Lanji explains the gloves actually emit intense heat on the outside when worn by an Echo user, much to Yaruito's frustration.
The strategy involves a surprise attack from the fog to imprint the enemies with an echo mark before teleporting them into the mist.
As the final stage of the plan begins, Yaruito worries that her luck might cause the entire operation to fall apart. Yaruito suddenly dashes out of the purple haze and strikes the afro-haired youth with her red umbrella.
A hand slams against the afro-haired youth's jacket, imprinting a glowing blue Ishii echo mark.
While the afro-haired youth reels from the hit, Yaruito immediately focuses her next strike on the old man. Swirling plumes of dark and light energy erupt around the afro-haired youth as the trap is sprung. Lanji laughs as she suddenly appears and attaches a friendship bracelet to the startled afro-haired youth's wrist.
The afro-haired youth looks down in confusion at the glowing red gem on the bracelet now locked onto his arm.
Lanji waves goodbye as she retreats back into the fog, taunting the frozen rapper to follow her. Gritting her teeth, Yaruito decides that an unpredictable battle is better than a boring, predictable one. Holding her red umbrella, Yaruito stands her ground as the old man opponent prepares his next move.
Yaruito charges forward, putting all her remaining strength into a desperate offensive. The old man opponent expertly maneuvers around her strike, preparing a counterattack with a glowing purple aura.
A powerful kick from the old man sends a shockwave through the industrial floor.
Yaruito is sent tumbling across the ground after failing to dodge the old man's swift strike.
As Yaruito tries to recover, the old man opponent continues his relentless assault with a barrage of strikes. Yaruito manages to block a kick, but the old man's speed and technique begin to overwhelm her.
The old man catches Yairito in a grapple, mocking her as she struggles to break free. The old man sneers at Yairito, telling her that resisting will only increase the amount of pain she has to endure.
The bandaged cat-eared youth strikes the old man with a spiraling attack.
The old man reels from the force of a powerful blow. The old man delivers a heavy kick, revealing a glowing blue Ishi echo mark. Yairito lies defenseless as a spiraling energy attack looms over her.
Yairito watches a glowing container emit ominous dark energy plumes.
The cat-eared youth mocks Yairito and threatens the safety of her companions. Lanji looks around nervously as the cat-eared youth claims their friends are in danger.
Lanji explains the friendship bracelet's painful connection while moving through the smoke.
A freezing energy fills the area as a trap is prepared. Lanji resolves to take down her next opponent despite the overwhelming odds. Lanji prepares to strike an unseen foe hidden within the dense purple mist.
Lanji bites her lip in worry as intense energy beams disrupt her plan.
Yairito recalls Tenzin's lesson about what to do when a strategy fails.
Yairito prepares to use her orange glove against the bored cat-eared youth. The cat-eared youth sneers at the lack of a tanj.
The cat-eared youth lunges forward with predatory focus.
Yairito charges directly at the massive spinning form of her opponent.
Yairito lands a powerful, energy-enhanced punch on the cat-eared youth's face.
Yairito cheers for their successful coordination and the effectiveness of her strike.
The cat-eared youth's bandages suddenly ensnare Yairito, halting her celebration.
The cat-eared youth mockingly praises Yairito's skill while looking down at her.
The cat-eared youth admits her aggressive approach caught him slightly off guard.
A red aura signal announces a shift in the battle's intensity.
The cat-eared youth resumes his spiraling assault with renewed ferocity. Yairito narrowly avoids a devastating energy strike from her bandaged foe. Yairito reacts with disgust as she is covered in a strange, damp fluid. The cat-eared youth snaps at Yairito, explaining his moisture-dependent third combat form.
Yairito mocks the youth's excuse while wiping the fluid from her face.
Yairito realizes her internal damage is severe despite her flashy offensive efforts. Yairito knows she must buy time and recalls another of Tenzin's teachings. Yairito prepares to execute Tenzin's first lesson for impossible situations.
Yairito shouts for everyone to retreat and begins running at full speed.
Yairito flees across the industrial floor in a desperate dash.
The cat-eared youth pursues her, mocking her choice to run like a mouse.
Yairito is startled by a sudden development ahead of her path.
Yairito spots an orange glove in the mist and decides to risk everything.
Yairito lunges toward the discarded glove as purple smoke surrounds her. Yairito reaches for the glove while the cat-eared youth closes in from behind. Yairito manages to evade a strike while focusing on her final desperate plan.
Chaos and movement fill the thick purple haze of the arena.
Lanji lands on her feet after being separated in the chaotic fog.
Lanji looks up in shock, questioning what is happening.
Lanji notes the floor is wet and the pungent smell is intensifying. Lanji is knocked backward by a sudden, unseen impact through the smoke. Lanji reels from the collision as a familiar figure appears. The afro-haired youth, Dobdoi, recognizes Lanji within the swirling purple mist.
Lanji stares back at the afro-haired youth, prepared for a new confrontation.
Dobdoi delivers a powerful kick that sends Lanji tumbling away. Dobdoi begins a rhythmic taunt about friends and meaningful battles as the mist swirls.
Dobdoi's eyes glow with freezing power as he declares the arrival of a new trial.
Glowing blue liquid drips from cupped hands. Lanji is blown backward by a combined elemental fault. Lanji desperately slides across the icy floor. Lanji stares with intense anger as she recovers. She identifies a corrosive, tingling liquid on her glove. A blinding flash of light consumes the area. Lanji deduces the gas is condensed into ammonia. Dobdoi demands an explanation after a brutal strike. Lanji grovels while Dobdoi clutches his stinging face. Lanji's eye glows with a mysterious green power.
A giant shadow fist craters the floor.
Battered and bleeding, Lanji struggles to stand. Lanji flinches as a shadow passes overhead.
The old man delivers a crushing blow to Lanji.
The old man mocks the friendship bracelet's restrictions.
Lanji reaches through the fog to remove the bracelet. Lanji's pupil dilates as she spots her robot companion.
Purple energy ripples through the thick arena smoke.
A massive purple cyclone erupts in the center.
A mechanical drill spins wildly amidst the purple gas. Tiny silhouettes watch the massive purple vortex expand.
Yairito swings her umbrella in a defensive arc. The old man reacts with sudden, startled shock.
A vertical energy pillar separates the combatants. A small ripple forms in a pal.
Lanji thanks the robot and warns of danger.
Yairito analyzes the cat youth's stretchy physical defense.
The girls watch the cat youth's tornado far.
A massive energy paw crushes the arena floor. Yairito questions the cat youth's grotesque transformation.
The girls discuss the cat youth's moisture-based powers.
The cat youth displays a terrifying wide-toothed grin. Lanji proposes using corrosive ammonia against their foe. Lanji worries that gas won't be effective in MS. Frustrated, Lanji struggles with the many combat variables.
The duo brainstorms ridiculous baits for their opponent.
The old man complains about his physical ailments.
The elder declares his refusal to die quietly.
A close-up highlights the old man's fierce resolve.
Dabdoi offers a rare moment of respect. Close-up of a zipper on a purple tacket. The production staff and credits are displayed.
Dabdoi advises the old man's arrest. Stylized red text announces a red aura shift.
Yoruido executes a silly dance to distract Dabdoi.
Yoruido mockingly asks the cat youth for an autograph.
The cat youth reacts with fury to the insults.
Enraged, the cat youth charges with murderous intent.
Yairito prepares to counter the spinning cat youth. Yoruido teleports behind the confused spinning foe.
The bandaged cat-eared youth yells at the fleeing opponent not to run away like a sewer rat.
The afro-haired boy asks if they should join the fight, but the old man suggests letting the combatants handle it for a while.
Carrying the old man in his arms, the afro-haired boy rushes across the arena floor.
A massive bandaged hand slams into the ground with crushing force. Looking up with a grin, the red-haired girl asks if they have dropped out of the team battle.
Small purple energy spheres explode as the red-haired girl runs through the smoke. The cat-eared youth looms over the area with menacing, glowing blue eyes.
Asa thinks the ability is dangerous, but feels lucky her opponent is a fool who fell for a trick, noting they are getting faster while chasing her.
A giant impact creates a massive shockwave across the industrial floor. Asa asks why she always messes things up, while the grinning cat youth asks if her situation is really a sweet deal.
The cat youth realizes Asa's reaction was not on purpose and that she cannot fully control her power yet.
Blocking massive spikes with her red umbrella, Asa laments her terrible luck. Asa calls herself stupid repeatedly while struggling to hold back the weight of the bandaged attack.
Blue energy pulses from Asa's gloves as she screams in determination.
A violent impact occurs as blood-red sound effects fill the panels.
The collision continues with intense force, scattering debris everywhere.
Glowing eyes stare out from the center of a massive crater.
Asa prepares to deliver a strike with her orange glove, shouting for her opponent to take it.
Asiya declares this her last gamble as she activates a glowing blue aura.
Asa cheers as dark energy clouds swirl around her position.
The old man yells at the pretty lady to stop being distracted during the height. Lanji is knocked backward by a powerful blow from the elder. Standing over the fallen girl, the old man asks if their game of tag has finally ended. The afro-haired boy looks down coldly while glowing with blue energy.
Asa reacts with shock as a fast-moving shadow approaches.
The cat youth bristles with anger, demanding to know who called him soggy noodles.
Asa smirks and tells him she prefers shirataki as water and energy swirl around her. Pulling a white cloth from her belt, Lanji smiles and announces that she surrenders.
The elder reaches toward the afro-haired boy's shoulder as they prepare a final move. Dark energy ripples across the floor as the combatants prepare for a collision. Lanji smiles broadly and promises that she is protecting her robot companion, Doc-chan.
Baffled by the sudden change in atmosphere, the afro-haired boy yells in confusion while the girls call for a docking maneuver.
The cat youth stares ahead with glowing blue pupils as the wind shifts. The afro-haired boy screams in terror as a massive energy vortex forms. The cat youth and his teammates beg for the attack to wait as they are swept into the whirlwind.
The group panics as the cat youth is pulled toward a high-powered device.
Asa aims a vacuum-like device at her opponents, pulling them into the center. Asa shouts that she won't let them off for hurting her teammate, while Lanji frantically tells her to wait because they are still there too.
Purple energy erupts violently from the ground as the trap is fully sprung. A massive purple explosion consumes the center of the arena.
The energy shockwave ripples outward, shattering the industrial floor.
The cat youth and his teammates scream in pain as they are blasted away by green and purple energy.
Shielding the robot, Lanji smiles through the pain and assures it that everything is okay. A figure in a monkey mask and yellow robes sings into a microphone atop a high pole. The announcer declares Asa the winner as she cheers for her teacher, Tenzin.
Lanji delivers a sharp slap to Asa's cheek for her reckless behavior.
Asa prepares to strike back, her face red with anger and bruises.
The two girls engage in a messy, exhausted brawl on the floor.
They grit their teeth and glare at each other in a heated deadlock. Covered in scrapes and bruises, the pair continues their fierce and petty struggle. Scuffling on the floor, the black-haired girl yells at the red-haired girl for nearly getting her killed.
Shouting back, the red-haired girl defends her robot companion's importance as a lifelong friend.
The gray-haired man intervenes as the two girls continue to trade insults during their scuffle.
The red-haired girl furiously explains that her companion almost destroyed her most precious possession. Walking away, the red-haired girl tells her teammate to live alone forever. Looking stunned, the black-haired girl tells the elder she doesn't understand why her friend suddenly attacked. With a shadowed face, she confirms that her teammate turned on her without warning.
The gray-haired man comforts the upset girl, suggesting they find food to calm their nerves.
Tearing up, the black-haired girl prepares to explain the details of the incident.
Walking through the market, the elder concludes that the girl panicked and acted prematurely.
The girl tries to justify her choice, but the elder notes she still threatens something precious.
The girl argues her friend never explained the robot's value despite their shared battle plan.
The elder gently reminds her that her companion trusted her to execute the plan correctly.
As they walk, the elder asks her to consider her teammates' feelings during the chaos.
He explains that the robot, Dak-chan, is likely more significant than they ever imagined. Smiling warmly, the elder suggests that she is the one who understands her friend best.
The black-haired girl remains silent, reflecting deeply on the elder's words.
He encourages her to apologize and asks if she will seek out her teammate. Blushing and tearful, the girl hesitates to answer while struggling with her pride. Suddenly, strange black energy tendrils erupt from the girl in the middle of the crowd.
Clearing her head, the girl asks to eat first, much to the elder's relief. Wide shot of the industrial market as the girl excitedly suggests getting wings for everyone. The black-haired girl pauses suddenly, her expression shifting to one of surprise. She looks down a dark hallway where the silhouette of a child is visible. Looking annoyed, the girl stares off into the distance as they continue walking.
Split close-up of the green eye of the red-haired girl and the blue eye of the black-haired girl.
The red-haired girl stands with her robot as her teammates walk away in the background.
The elder guides the girl toward a restaurant, promising a meal of chicken wings. Grumbling as she walks, the girl questions the point of repairing their team bond now.
Stopping in his tracks, the elder asks if she has changed her mind about the food.
Stomping away, she declares she will buy a whole bucket and eat it by herself.
The elder sweat drops and asks what happened to her plan to share with the team.
He turns and offers a serving to someone nearby as the girl continues her tantrum. Reaching the restaurant entrance, the elder asks if they should save some food for their teammate. Screaming in rage, the girl suggests giving her teammate a serving of yak poop instead.
The entire restaurant staff and several well-dressed patrons stare at the duo in stunned silence. Wide shot of the cafeteria as patrons complain about the noise and demand quiet.
The girl reacts with anger to the complaints while someone mentions a curry dish. The elder quickly muzzles the girl while nervously telling the other diners to enjoy their food. Backing away, the elder promises they will find a quiet corner to avoid further bother.
Sitting at a large table, the elder looks exhausted while the girl sulks beside him.
The elder laments that their terrible first impression ruined any chance of recruiting new party members.
A loud, boisterous laugh erupts from a nearby old man wearing a conical hat.
The bearded man's eyes glow blue as he mocks them by asking if they are performers. The girl is overcome with fury at being called a traveling performer. She tells the old man she is not in the mood and demands he laugh somewhere else.
The old man laughs again, claiming he can see the girl's hidden taunt.
He suggests she could succeed in a new career, causing her to explode in a fiery rage.
The elder forcibly bows the girl's head, politely thanking the old man for his unwanted advice.
Striking a dramatic pose, the old man claims his long life proves he should have been an actor. The elder reflects on a career he never pursued. Tenzin asks about his past profession as a blacksmith.
Tenzin reacts with shock as the old man teases.
The elder offers a quest to find a room. He asks the group if they accept his challenge. Asa looks exhausted and irritated by the sudden request. Asa questions why they were dragged into this quest. Asa admits she only accepted on her pity. Asa wonders if they should actually perform the search. Tenzin notes they have very few other options. Asa worries about the old man getting into trouble. Tenzin ponders the difficulty of searching the ship.
Asa claims to have found the requested object. Tenzin is surprised by her son Heim.
Tenzin watches Asa sprint off into the market.
Asa runs at full speed toward her goal.
She bursts through the doors of a Lortal. A massive crowd is gathered inside the Larth room. Asa proudly presents a wrestling ring to Tenzin. Tenzin realizes Asa has completely misinterpreted the instructions. Tenzin scolds Asa for her ridiculous and illogical assumption. A loud commotion draws their attention toward a crowd.
Spectators announce the arrival of a champion.
Onlookers discuss the massive gold prize for winning.
Asa regrets not signing up for the money.
Two fighters stand ready in the center arena.
The audience cheers enthusiastically for the match. The youth known as Silent Rock waits calmly.
A powerful fighter named Dokuba enters the ring.
Fans ask Dokuba about his recent northern expedition.
Dokuba acknowledges the youth's impressive winning record.
Dokuba remains unimpressed by the youth's achievements.
He mentions his survival in the feather plants.
A title card announces the Ride Aura. Production credits are listed against a dark background. A support and recruitment banner is displayed.
The crowd cheers for Dokuba's triumphant return. Dokuba explains the youth's desire for fame.
He dismisses the youth's prior victories over nobodies.
Dokuba mentions his survival in the northern plains.
Tenzin describes the deceptive appearance of the North.
Tenzin warns of the North's hidden lethal abyss. Asa struggles to understand the geographical danger. Tenzin emphasizes the terrifying beasts of the North.
Tenzin recognizes Dokuba's sacred tribal katsus.
Onlookers identify Dokuba's high-ranking tribal combat style.
Dokuba stretches and prepares for the struggle.
Dokuba acknowledges the youth's strength with respect. He decides to unleash his full power. Dokuba lunges forward with intense, focused rage. Dokuba lunges aggressively at Silent Rock.
Dokuba calls his opponent insane for taking the hit head-on.
Silent Rock stands firm and unfazed. Dokuba throws a powerful, high-speed punch. Dokuba's fist connects squarely with the youth's chest. The powerful punch remains pressed against the youth.
Dokuba grits his teeth in shock while preparing another blow. Silent Rock remains unmoved despite the direct hit.
Dokuba laughs, admitting defeat and praising the youth's incredible durability.
The audience erupts into thunderous cheers.
A mysterious voice notes the convenience of the situation.
Asa watches the spectacle with a mischievous grin.
Silent Rock reflects on meeting strong opponents and decides it's time to unleash his own power.
Asa excitedly announces her participation to the fighter.
Asa approaches the silhouette of the warrior.
Asa looks up as the warrior's shadow looms large.
Multiple copies of the girl inspect the distressed warrior.
Asa asks Tenzin if the warrior looks unusually pale.
The warrior suddenly places a hand on Asa's shoulder. Asa recoils as the warrior doubles over in visible pain.
Silent Rock sprints away, dragging a panicked Asa behind him.
Silent Rock begs for a quick resolution to his urgent problem.
The warrior's face contorts in desperate, sweaty agony.
Divine light breaks through as a moment of reckoning arrives.
Silent Rock experiences a wave of overwhelming emotional relief. The group celebrates with a sense of flowery joy. A sudden, violent blow strikes the warrior's face. The beaten youth claims victory over his own biological instincts.
Toxic green fumes erupt from the side of the ship.
Asa reacts with horror to the stench trailing the warrior.
Asa asks if he properly washed his hands.
The warrior tearfully insists he washed up. Tenzin concludes the legendary warrior's reputation was a complete misunderstanding. Tenzin deduces the warrior was simply looking for a restroom.
Tenzin realizes the youth used his full strength just to avoid an accident.
Silent Rock praises Tenzin for understanding the pressure he endured from the crowd.
Tenzin rejects the notion that such a bizarre ordeal is normal behavior.
Tenzin berates his companion's lack of common sense while pummeling the youth as Asa cheers. Tenzin acknowledges the youth's durability as Asa points out that his insults are actually a form of praise. Asa recruits the warrior to help find the missing rim. A stern voice asks if they are responsible for the nearby mess. A yellow sign marks a suspicious puddle.
The group hides nervously behind a large man's arm.
Tenzin tries to distract a furious staff member with a long-winded story while admitting they had an accident. Tenzin frantically drags the group away while discussing the legend of the Golden Ring. Tenzin scolds the youth for his illogical theories about the dragon's ring.
Tenzin demands to know what happened to his companion's common sense.
Tenzin mocks the group's intelligence while they flee from the scene. Exhausted, Tenzin expresses his deep desire to simply run away. Tenzin uses his remaining energy to sprint away with his team. Tenzin laments his weakness while wounded. He reflects on his sudden aging. He prepares to face pursuers alone.
Tenzin accepts his unexpected fate calmly.
He tells his companions to flee.
He offers a final, peaceful smile.
A spear hook catches Tenzin's claws. The hook vibrates with intense energy. Tenzin feels weightless and free, Fenley. He stares dazed toward the ceiling.
The group falls screaming through darkness.
Asa spots a large Arita Balar. Silent Rock fears crashing into statues.
They plummet toward a small monument.
Tenzin panics as they approach Enact.
They crash violently onto the floor. A massive blast follows their landing. Debris flies from the impact site. Massive sound effects echo through space. Asa cheers while Tenzin writes him. Tenzin scolds Asa for her disrespect. The group shivers in the cold. Asa notices a strange glowing light. They investigate a light from above. The three stare upward in awe. Asa prepares to text light. She runs toward the glowing source. Silent Rock accepts their uncertain fate. Asa skips into the bright glow. Tenzin sighs at his chaotic team. A hand reaches for the light. Quiet darkness fills the vast chamber. A massive circular shaft looms overhead. Tenzin gazes at a glowing car.
Asa shouts into the cavernous room.
Light glows from the deep pit. They stand before the colossal structure. Silent Rock listens for mysterious sounds. Tenzin reacts with sudden, sharp shock. The group bickers in the shadows. Argumentative whispers fill the dock room. Tenzin approaches the ancient stone pillar. He examines the intricate ancient script. Silent Rock identifies the dragon symbol. He recites a prophecy regarding kings. Silent Rock explains his partial translation. Tenzin analyzes the ancient local traditions.
He wishes for Yairuito's expert knowledge.
Tenzin ponders their confusing current situation. He questions Bap about the noise. Tenzin reflects on the strange sounds as Asa makes odd noises in the background.
Silent Rock corrects Asa's vocal imitation of the mysterious sound.
Tenzin notices the temperature dropping at a rapid pace. Tenzin stares up into the massive, dark abyss overhead. The group observes that the floor's massive glowing blue ring has activated. Tenzin ponders the golden dragon legend and the resonant ring beneath him. He considers if the legendary dragon actually represents a massive flow of echo. Tenzin urgently asks Asa if she senses anything unusual in the echo flow. Asa stands ready as she senses a powerful energy shift. A massive vortex of blue energy swirls within the chamber. Asa observes that everything in the room is being sucked into the ring. Tenzin screams for the group to evacuate as the echo is drawn downward. Tenzin notes they are trapped and have no time to search for exits. He desperately looks for a way to stop the energy vortex.
intricate ancient script glows brightly on the side of the stone pillar.
Tenzin shouts for anyone to help decode the ancient carvings. Silent Rock offers to try his hand after Tenzin's failed attempt.
Silent Rock charges his power, manifesting a surging blue aura.
The warrior strikes the ancient pillar with a powerful, energy-infused punch.
The pillar stands unmoved as Silent Rock admits brute force is useless.
Asa prepares to use her unique swapping ability with her umbrella.
Dark energy tendrils erupt from the girl's red umbrella as she swings.
The dark energy swirls around the glowing blue ring in the center. Asa is shocked to see her own Ishi Echo being sucked out.
She notes that this bizarre phenomenon has never occurred before.
Tenzin and Asa realize the energy isn't disappearing but being redirected.
Asa panics as she completely loses control over her echo powers.
Dark tendrils fill the room while Tenzin demands help with the decoding.
The girl's red umbrella spins wildly out of her grasp.
Tenzin is surprised to see someone approaching the ancient pillar.
A massive explosion of blue energy erupts from the impact site.
A moment of quiet darkness fills the chamber. The umbrella resonates with the glowing script on the ancient monument. The group stares in wide-eyed shock at the sudden turn of events.
Yaso, the old man, complains about being dragged away from the restroom.
A title card announces the red aura.
Production credits are listed against a dark minimalist backdrop.
Asa reacts with fiery rage at the old man's rude behavior.
Tenzin is shoved aside as the group erupts into a blur of motion.
Asa accidentally pummels Tenzin during her chaotic pursuit of healed Minin.
Tenzin is caught in a flurry of blows during the argument.
Tenzin lies defeated on the floor while the others bicker loppy.
Yaso ignores the crisis to admire the elegance of the old-era forge work.
Asa scolds the elder for his lack of focus on the pillar problem.
Yaso blames the girl's echo for dragging him into the situation.
The elder identifies the pillar as an eyesore chaining down the echo.
Asa points her umbrella at the old man in disbelief.
Yaso's eye gleams as he suddenly seizes the girl's red umbrella.
The group restrains Asa as Yaso borrows her weapon to free the power. Yaso strikes the ground with a powerful impact.
Tenzin attempts to stop Yaso from using the umbrella, but the elder pins the weapon down with his foot.
Yaso summons a massive hammer of blue energy above the red umbrella.
Tenzin and Asa realize the elder is wielding a solid block of echo ore.
The sheer pressure of the gathering energy blows Tenzin and Asa backward.
A massive shockwave erupts as Yaso strikes the ground with his glowing hammer. Yaso tells the weeping girl to come closer so she can truly harmonize with her conduit.
Yaso presents the umbrella to Asa, claiming this experience is the reward he promised.
Yaso reveals he is a forge master and orders Asa to place her hand on her weapon.
The elder mocks Asa's youth while noting her conduit has been out of tune for years. A vision reveals the intricate blue network of echo energy flowing through Asa's body. Yaso urges haste while explaining that her weapon is suffering from a lack of synchronization.
Yaso berates Asa for treating her conduit shabbily while she insists she cleans it every day.
Silent Rock offers comfort to a defeated and weary Tenzin.
Yaso uses an analogy about outgrowing shoes to explain why Asa's conduit is struggling. Yaso explains that Yasa's soul has aged far beyond her physical body, causing a spiritual cramp.
Asa realizes that she has always felt a physical tightness when syncing with her umbrella.
Yaso explains that her kingly soul is desperately trying to harmonize with its outgrown container. Asa realizes she must confront her inner chaos and deepest secrets to reach full harmony.
Yaso prepares a final strike, commanding the girl to let her soul sing.
Tenzin and Silent Rock debate intervening as a massive earthquake begins to freeze the room. Asa's mind is flooded with chaotic, conflicting thoughts about her purpose and the elder's identity.
Painful red pulses in her mind command her to stop thinking and just be.
Asa begins to let go of her dreams and pain, focusing her intent on mastering Echo. Memories of Tenzin, Yaruito, and her tribe flash through her eyes as she reaches for clarity.
Yaso's intense, focused gaze is reflected through a narrow lens of light.
The elder watches with stern expectation as the girl's spiritual transformation nears its peak.
A single tear falls as Yaso softly praises her for her hard work.
Yaso notes that while her harmony isn't complete, it is more than enough for today.
Asa's grip on the red umbrella handle becomes steady and firm. She questions why she was unable to achieve a full state of synchronization.
A dark shadow suggests that she is the only one who truly understands that failure. Tenzin and Silent Rock flee as a massive earthquake tears through the lower levels.
An angry mob screams about upper-floor residents siphoning their energy during the chaos.
A cup of tea ripples as the tremors reach the wealthy upper levels. Aristocratic women worry that the shaking will ruin their afternoon tea time. Two ladies enjoy snacks on a high balcony while the world shakes below. A shadowy man asks a younger relative for help while being insulted as a party crasher. The man threatens a relative he calls a mutt while clutching a sharp dagger.
A sinister smile appears in the dark as someone expresses their growing boredom.
The group's fun is interrupted by a violent surge of energy in the hallway.
A masked figure warns the warrior that he won't walk away unscathed if he breaks anything.
Tenzin is drenched in sweat, terrified after a close encounter with a lethal force.
Tenzin screams at the group that they barely escaped a freaky thing and shouldn't be blamed. Yaso notes that Tenzin's shadow-like pet seems to be waving and wanting something.
Dark, wispy energy tendrils begin to emerge from a nearby yellow warning sign.
Tenzin decides to leave the area before things become even more confusing and dangerous.
Silent Rock suggests that the shadowy entity simply wants to be Tenzin's friend.
Silent Rock prepares to touch the dark energy as Yaso urgently tells him to stop.
A massive pillar of light erupts as Silent Rock makes contact with the shadowy creature.
Silent Rock is horrified at the realization that his action has harmed the old man.
Yaso mocks the group's inability to handle pressure. The elder warns that the darkness will shrivel anyone who touches it.
He turns his gaze toward the abyss, acknowledging that their entrapment is a serious problem.
Yaso prepares for a final series of strikes while Tenzin and Silent Rock watch.
A scream of frustration echoes through the room.
Asa lashes out, furious that her mind and powers are being manipulated.
She rants about being forced into dangerous games while the elder works.
Asa demands accountability for the group's current desperate situation.
The girl's umbrella clashes against the elder's massive energy hammer. She screams for the elder to finally speak.
Silent Rock restrains the girl before she causes more chaos. He urges her to talk through her feelings instead of exploding.
Asa hesitates, clutching her conduit with trembling hands.
A sudden shout draws the group's collective attention.
Tenzin lies exhausted as the others prepare for a new plan. Tenzin finds his resolve and channels a massive blue aura.
He charges forward to add his strength to the elder's work. A wave of blue energy ripples across the chamber.
Yaso suggests using echo ripples to push back the darkness while Silent Rock worries about their endurance. Silent Rock resolves to strike the anvil until they carve a path or break themselves.
Yaso protests the use of his precious and valuable Echo War.
Silent Rock aggressively reminds the elder that their lives are worth more than ore.
Purple energy swirls violently in the surrounding darkness.
A hand reaches out to push against the shadows.
A fist strikes out as someone questions if reversing their arrival is the answer.
Tensions flare as one demands silence while another complains about their stolen abilities.
Silent Rock notes their strength is fading as they reach the halfway point.
Tenzin joins the others in a desperate synchronized energy strike.
Silent Rock admits he came out of retirement to protect the younger generation.
He tells the girl it is okay to stop and feel the world around her.
Voices clash over the importance of listening during the crisis.
Silent Rock and Asa observe a glowing device being held steady. He smiles, offering final words of encouragement about her journey and goals. The scene fades into a dark transitional gradient.
Tenzin notices his arm feels strangely light as he channels energy.
Tremors cause the warrior's boot to vibrate against the floor.
The group stands within a shrinking circle of protective light.
Silent Rock realizes their rhythm is failing and calculates a final, risky move.
He orders Asa to carry the elder and run toward the exit.
Silent Rock unleashes a terrifying explosion of purple and white energy.
A focused beam of light cuts a path through the suffocating darkness.
Asa flees with Tenzin as Silent Rock stays behind to hold back the void.
The girl screams in terror as the situation mirrors a past trauma. Asa pushes forward, her red umbrella trailing a streak of blue light.
A voice apologizes for failing expectations as a face glows with white light.
Silent Rock is engulfed by energy as the others make their escape.
A blue streak of power shoots toward the distant control pillar. Asa carries her allies through the darkness in a final frantic sprint.
The energy strike finally reaches the ancient stone monument.
Asa screams for her grandfather while the elder demands repayment for his efforts.
Yaso glares with intense determination as massive surges of blue energy erupt around him.
A sharp crystalline blue structure cuts through the chaotic atmosphere.
The series title Red Aura appears in bold, jagged red lettering. Production credits are listed against a minimalist black background. Voices express terror over the recent tremors and the Kark tribe's dangerous experiments.
Tenzin asks Yarito for their perspective on the nature of echocraft.
A red-haired woman recounts a legend about a starving giant sleeping beneath the mountain.
The woman laughs heartily at the boys for believing a simple children's story.
She explains that a life of constant challenges is far more rewarding than safety.
A vision reveals a younger girl screaming amidst a swirling field of stars.
A close-up captures a raw, visceral cry of frustration. The red-haired woman's green eyes burn with an intense, fiery rage. Shimmering blue patterns drift through a silent, starry void. A flashback shows the red-haired woman teaching the young girl a harsh lesson through combat.
The woman stands tall with a flaming aura while the young boy cowers on the ground.
She watches with a smug grin as the boy flees the scene in terror.
The red-haired woman pulls the weeping child into a warm, comforting embrace.
She offers a gentle smile to soothe the girl's sorrow.
The two share a quiet, tender moment of connection amidst the sparkling light.
The woman playfully stretches the girl's cheeks to force a wide, silly smile.
The woman guides the young girl by the hand through a dreamlike field of stars. They walk together toward a glowing, sunlit horizon. A young boy is suddenly struck by a violent discharge of blue energy.
The two girls sleep peacefully side by side while holding hands.
The red-haired woman reacts with shock and anger upon finding a room empty.
A vast, sparkling sky reflects a sense of infinite possibility. The young girl waves from the dock as the woman sails away into the bright morning. The girl stands alone in the pouring rain, clutching a small box as she watches the sea.
She smiles broadly before putting on a pair of mechanical goggles amidst flying sparks.
A hand reaches down to retrieve a discarded metal tool from the floor. The girl triumphantly presents a small, glowing black box to the world. An unexpected explosion sends the young inventor reeling backward.
She panics as the device begins to emit thick, dark clouds of smoke.
The girl checks her pocket watch and screams in horror at the passing time.
She frantically sprints across a wasteland with a bundle of scavenged parts in her arms.
The girl trips and falls, spilling her precious collection of scrap across the dirt.
She glares with tearful frustration at a boy who has picked up her lost box.
The boy laughs and runs away, keeping the glowing artifact just out of her reach.
A tranquil blue nebula drifts across the silent expanse of space.
The two children engage in a frantic chase through various landscapes from dawn until dusk.
The boy stops at the end of a dock, looking back in fear as the girl catches up.
The girl's eyes swirl with a dizzying, intense purple energy as she prepares to strike.
The boy raises the box high as the red-haired woman watches with growing concern.
The artifact crackles with dangerous blue electrical discharges between the boy's hands.
The girl huffs in exhaustion while watching the boy manipulate the sparking device. She reaches out in a desperate attempt to stop the imminent disaster.
A fragmented memory shows the woman being shoved aside during a chaotic struggle. The girl looks up with a somber, pained expression as her past haunts her.
Shimmering lights fade into the deep, quiet darkness of the starry void. Children race toward a blinding light as the scene transitions into a vast, star-filled nebula.
Shimmering constellations drift through the infinite darkness of the quiet, cosmic void.
A young girl sits alone on a wooden dock in the rain, staring out at the sea. Hands hold metal probes together, creating a brilliant explosion of energy and light. The vision of the starry expanse continues to shift as memories of the past interweave.
The red-haired girl works in her shop, welding scrap parts while a daydream of the pier persists.
She watches a boat disappear into the sunset before the scene returns to the starlit sky.
Rain soaks the girl as she continues her frantic work in an industrial workshop.
A small wooden box is opened to reveal a glowing purple rune within. A tear rolls down a face as a monitor screen flickers with digital static.
The device activates, displaying two vertical red bars that look like a pair of eyes. Hazy pink and purple light drifts across the stars during the emotional transition.
A single tear wells in a bright green eye, reflecting the shimmering universe.
The red-haired woman walks into a blinding light carrying her inventions and her family.
She stands with the children, her expression calm and resolved amidst the sparkling void.
The group stands together in a darkened room, wondering if they are responsible for the power outage.
A brilliant flash of white light brings the group back to the physical world.
The industrial engine room hums with energy as steam vents from the heavy machinery.
Tenzin, Asa, Yaso, and Bachu collapse into a groaning heap on the metal floor.
They celebrate their safety while wondering about their current, unfamiliar location on the ship.
Tenzin winces in pain as Asa asks her master for an explanation of their sudden arrival.
Yaso kicks the white-haired man, bluntly stating he has no idea what just happened.
The elder demands to know the fate of his conduit while lecturing Tenzin on the mission's success.
Isis screams at the group for causing a massive earthquake with their reckless actions.
Tenzin and Yaso argue over conduits and harmony while dismissive of the younger generation's impatience.
Yaso stares ahead with a serious, intense expression.
He explains that some answers must be discovered through personal struggle rather than given.
Asa grits her teeth in a fit of frustration at the elder's cryptic refusal to help.
Bachu excitedly explains how the ship's energy flow mirrors legends of dragons and light rings. Yaso offers a calm smile, advising the young man to be patient with his journey. A sudden, swirling blue energy vortex erupts behind the girl, startling her.
Asa looks back with a fierce, angry expression as a new threat reveals itself.
An aggressive shout announces that the group has finally been located. Tenzin, Asa, and Bachu look on in bewildered silence as question marks fill the background.
A close-up reveals the glowing glass lens of a heavy mechanical mask.
A squad of guards in red suits and bronze helmets charges toward the intruders.
A chaotic scuffle erupts as the group is swamped by the Russian guards. The three are tied up and dragged away while Bachu tries to offer Tenzin a mantra for calmness. The captives are led down a long hallway lined with thousands of glowing monitors. A top-down view shows the group being hauled across the industrial floor by the masked guards.
The ship's captain is overwhelmed by reports of fires, riots, and trivial upper-deck complaints.
Lord Valda crumples a letter in a fit of rage, cursing the woman who gave him orders. He turns his fury toward the prisoners, demanding to know why they are staring at him. A guard whispers into the captain's ear as the trio remains bound on the floor. Lord Valda looms over Tenzin, screaming that he is the one who truly moves the ship. He gets right into Tenzin's face, blaming the intruders for his sudden hair loss.
The captain reveals a bald spot on his head, lamenting his marriage prospects at 30.
Bachu smiles warmly, suggesting that the captain should just shave his head like a happy monk.
Asa whispers to Pachu about their past cruelty while Lord Valda fumes in the background. The captain orders their immediate execution, revealing they have reached Nuru Nur despite the engine failure.
Lord Valda screams that the group will perish in the Carvel waterfall basin, though he intends to finish them off personally first.
Asa's innocent suggestion that they simply swim to safety leaves the captain utterly speechless and infuriated by her ignorance.
Using a pointer and a map, the captain explains that Nuru Nur sits atop a massive peak feeding the Great Goriki River.
He illustrates that the overwhelming water pressure of the basin acts as a natural crushing grave for anyone caught in it. Lord Valda orders his men to throw the prisoners into the river immediately so he can return to his duties.
A guard interrupts the execution to point out a beeping communication device that requires the captain's urgent attention.
Lord Valda answers the radio demanding to know what the caller wants while being told to skip the games.
He loses his patience and screams at the caller to get to the point before he hangs up.
The voice on the radio offers to quell the lower deck riots in exchange for custody of the 3 prisoners.
The caller points out the difficulty of controlling 4,000 deck dwellers and suggests a mutually beneficial partnership.
He proposes that putting the young nomads on display would draw a massive, profitable audience of eager spectators.
The voice highlights the financial windfall awaiting them as they negotiate the terms for the upcoming competitors.
Lord Valda warns the caller not to overstep in Cart Clan territory before violently slamming the handset onto the console.
The captain abruptly cancels the execution order, leaving the bound captives and his guards in a state of shocked confusion. He announces that it is time for some entertainment to settle the score once and for all.
Sharp, dramatic vertical lines signal a tense transition into the next stage of their captivity.
The tied trio is tossed roughly onto a wooden floor, with Bachu crying out in pain from the impact. Asa shouts at their captors for their sloppy work while complaining that they don't even know their current location.
A man wearing a red monkey mask laughs and thanks the guards for delivering the guests to him.
He offers a sinister, toothy grin while telling the prisoners to give his regards to their lady boss.
A masked guard warns the Oyuchi clan leader to stay in his place as the man muses about turning friends into enemies.
A menacing squad of fighters stands behind the monkey-masked leader, their eyes shadowed with malice.
The monkey-masked man dismisses the guards' threats, expressing a desire to take them on head-on instead of stepping on trash. He tells his restless crew to endure the insults because the proper time for their move is approaching. The leader looms over the bound prisoners, declaring that today they have much more pressing business to attend to.
The trio is led down a long industrial corridor through a dense crowd of murmuring spectators.
Asa takes command of the situation, laying out a specific combat strategy for Tenzin and Bachu to follow. Tenzin asks Bachu if his echo ability is defensive, noting how he survived previous attacks without a scratch.
Asa glares with intense frustration, demanding that Bachu provide a proper explanation of his powers.
Bachu shadowboxes while admitting that his masters called his head rock solid, though he has never actually used an echo. He boastfully claims his powerful body is the ultimate defense, causing Tenzin to facepalm in utter disbelief. Tenzin's internal screaming is practically audible at this point.
The group arrives at an arena as Asa notes they are out of time and must prepare for the Crusher team.
Tenzin tries to organize their formation despite his growing realization that their plan might be impossible to execute. A gloved hand reaches toward the trio as they are surrounded by the hostile crowd. 3 aggressive thugs step forward to block their path, looking down on the newcomers with disdain. The white-haired thug sneers at the group, declaring that he has finally tracked them down.
Asa looks up with a blunt expression and tells the man his hair is greasy and he desperately needs a shower. The man screams in a fit of rage, claiming his hairstyle is a trendy, expensive work of art from Nuru Nur.
Tenzin whispers to Asa, recognizing the men as the same crew that chased them earlier in their journey.
The thugs complain about the extra work and the ruined deal caused by the trio's interference.
The white-haired leader roars at his companion to be quiet as he prepares to settle the grudge.
He yells that he has first dibs on dragging them to the chopping block for their boss to deal with. The monkey-masked man intervenes, telling the white-haired thug to calm down and go with the flow.
The thug rejects the monkey's orders while Asa enthusiastically prepares to fight everyone at once.
The leader warns that interfering with the match would mess up the betting odds and the payouts for the whole ship.
The crowd's bloodlust rises as aggressive shouts fill the arena, demanding the start of the violence. A streak of fire descends from above, hurtling toward the center of the arena floor.
A localized explosion of flames erupts between the two groups, confirming that the situation has turned dangerous.
The white-haired thug charges through the smoke and fire with glowing red eyes and a murderous roar.
He lunges forward, commanding his followers to take the trio down as the brawl officially begins.
A rioting crowd shouts and pumps their fists in a fit of rage.
The 2 groups of fighters collide in a chaotic mid-air charge.
Jagged purple energy symbols signal a sudden magical intervention.
Multiple fighters are suddenly overwhelmed and paralyzed by a barrage of purple energy bolts.
Tenzin senses a powerful aura as the purple energy continues to suppress the combatants on the floor.
The light-haired man looks up toward the ceiling with a grim and alert expression.
Violent purple energy streaks down from above, marking the arrival of a new threat. A series of intricate hand gestures focuses a surging amount of purple spiritual energy. A heavy, dark void descends upon the arena, drowning out the surroundings. A vertical burst of energy signals a massive shift in the battlefield's atmosphere.
Tenzin stands ready to engage as purple energy swirls around him in the arena. A hulking warrior with a massive black beard stands ready for combat with a heavy club.
Asa watches with a determined gaze as the red-haired woman, Stazda, prepares her entrance.
Asa and Bachu charge forward while mockingly advising their opponent not to overexert himself due to his age.
A powerful concussive blast erupts from the center of the ring, sending spectators flying. Asa and Bachu dash across the industrial floor, frantically discussing the need for a third teammate to replace their missing member.
Bachu expresses concern that a random replacement might turn the match into a 4-against-2 disadvantage.
Asa grits her teeth in frustration, desperately trying to come up with a solution for their team roster.
The monkey-masked announcer struggles with the crowd as he apologetically announces the start of the match.
A streak of light accompanies a red-booted fighter as they launch into the air. The announcer yells into his microphone, signaling the beginning of the long-awaited main event.
Stazda lets out a ferocious scream as she dives toward the arena floor.
Asa looks up with a pained expression, recognizing the intruder immediately. Stazda headbutts Asa, calling her an idiot, while the girl snaps back with a comment about her greasy boots.
Both women reel back with stars around their heads as Stazda boasts about her high-powered and stimulating new footwear.
Asa snaps at her rival, claiming she will take the boots and mocking Stazda for her history of abandoning teammates. Stazda shouts back with a fierce expression, asserting that she actually understands the meaning of value.
Bachu celebrates with a wide smile, delighted that they finally have the 3 members required for the match.
Bachu tries to lecture the group on the importance of friendship while both women vehemently deny being friends. Asa points an accusing finger, warning Stazda that no amount of begging will earn her forgiveness.
Stazda mockingly suggests that Asa only counts Tenzin as a friend because she has no peers her own age.
Asa lunges toward Stazda in a fit of rage, unable to tolerate the personal insults any longer.
A sudden explosion centered on the trio forces them together as the enemy looms nearby.
The group trembles in shock as they look up at the massive, bearded warrior standing before them.
The giant warrior looks down on the group, dismissing them as pathetic children who do not know their place.
He questions their audacity, mocking the idea that they could ever hope to challenge him.
The warrior screams in a murderous rage, vowing to tear Stazda apart for her defiance.
A red caption warns the intruders about the consequences of failing to realize their own inferiority.
A bold title card for the story appears against a black and red background.
The production credits for the series list the creative team behind the project.
The bearded warrior smiles mockingly, telling the group they will soon be grateful for the fate he provides. He steps forward, relishing the upcoming duty of making the cocky intruders grovel in the dirt.
The leader orders his 2 teammates to put up enough of a fight to keep the crowd entertained.
The girl in the yellow coat yawns in boredom, unimpressed by her boring opponents. The man in the pink tracksuit excitedly grabs his companion, eager to start the violence immediately. The leader barks an order for his teammate to calm down, promising a reward at Nuru Nur for a job well done.
Manifesting water energy, the girl in the yellow coat casually asks for a trendy feather pillow as her prize.
The man in the pink tracksuit launches into the air with a manic grin and crackling electrical energy. The giant warrior watches his teammates approach the punching bags, warning the sticky monkey not to be deadweight. The man in the pink tracksuit moves with blurring speed, creating multiple afterimages as he lunges toward a shocked Asa.
The man in the pink tracksuit launches a high-speed electrical charge toward Asa.
Pink energy streaks violently across the bright arena.
Buzz B zips around Tenzin and Stazda, mocking them for moving in slow motion compared to his speed.
Asa looks on in shock, her eyes sparkling with a strange blue light.
The girl in the yellow coat manifests a swirling orb of water energy in her hand.
Moppy releases a barrage of water bubbles toward the charging Stazda.
Stazda notes her opponent is surprisingly fast despite her sleepy expression, while Tenzin engages the pink-clad speedster.
Tenzin takes a direct electrical hit, shouting in pain while jokingly claiming the shock is good for his stiff shoulders.
Buzz B dashes away with a manic expression as electrical sparks trail behind him.
The speedster taunts Asa and Stazda, challenging them to keep up with his erratic movements.
Asa screams at her hyperactive opponent, demanding that he sit still for even a single second.
Buzz B suddenly stops, his body vibrating with unstable energy as he struggles to finish his sentence. The pink-clad fighter unexpectedly collapses face first onto the arena floor. The giant bearded warrior laughs heartily, declaring that the real match is only just beginning. The giant strikes his own teammate with a club to motivate him, demanding he stop chirping and show his true power.
Buzz B rises with a sinister grin and glowing eyes, announcing that his energy charging is finally complete. Creating multiple afterimages, Buzz B lunges at Asa, who frantically tells the hyperactive attacker to calm down.
Moppy stares blankly into the distance, realizing that her teammate has forgotten her shoes once again.
Moppy wanders toward Stazda while surrounded by water, complaining about her health and wishing she had called in sick. Stazda grits her teeth in frustration as she prepares to face the sluggish but dangerous water user.
Moppy tells herself to stay focused to avoid being demoted back to dry cleaning duty. Buzz B cheers with manic excitement, urging his team to show no mercy and go full speed ahead.
Tenzin attempts to restrain his opponent, but he finds his own muscles cramping and realizes he cannot move.
The giant warrior roars at his teammates, threatening to throw them back into the trash heap if they fail him. A dark, oppressive shadow looms over Buzz B as he bows before his intimidating leader.
Asa watches in horror as Buzz B manifests a spear of dark electrical energy and charges toward her.
Asa readies her red umbrella, boldly challenging the speedster she calls Baby Buzz.
Asa's eyes suddenly shift, glowing with a vibrant rainbow-colored star pattern.
Asa's vision becomes a distorted, multi-layered blur of colors and shifting shapes. A sudden realization hits her as the world turns white.
Asa clutches her head in confusion, wondering what she just witnessed. Buzz B lunges through the air with his dark spear aimed directly at his target. A massive shockwave ripples through the ground as the combatants clash in the center of the ring.
A single red boot stands firm on the tiled floor.
Stazda yells at Asa to stop spacing out while the girl frantically claims she saw something impossible.
Stazda warns Asa that further daydreaming will result in a boot to the face as a dark energy crackles nearby.
Moppy stands in a daze while water droplets float serenely around her.
Tenzin looks on with a determined grin as Buzz B prepares another electrical surge.
Tenzin catches Buzz B in a firm grapple, jokingly offering to introduce him to monastery friends he specialize in treating hyperactivity.
A complex interaction of positive and negative electrical charges erupts as Tenzin and Buzz B collide.
A violent explosion of red and blue energy centers on the grappling pair. Tenzin is sent tumbling backward across the floor from the force of the magical discharge.
Asa struggles to keep her footing, her mind racing to understand the chaotic turn of events.
The giant leader mocks the trio, comparing their desperate struggle to that of a cornered rabbit.
He continues his predatory metaphors while Stazda and Tenzin reel from the enemy's relentless pressure. The bearded warrior dismisses their efforts, telling them they have no place as heroes or protagonists in this world.
He leans in with a terrifying, toothy smile, labeling the intruders as nothing more than ordinary fools.
Asa rubs her eyes in disbelief, unable to comprehend why her vision has become so distorted.
Asa sees flickering, ghostly images of Stazda and Tenzin as if multiple timelines are overlapping. The distortion intensifies as Asa sees Buzz B and Moppy flickering, forcing her to command her own brain to snap out of the trance.
The black-haired girl screams in frustration about the difficulty of dealing with a spaced-out woman.
Stazda kicks her teammate, demanding that she stop muttering and join the fight.
Asa declares she is fighting while gripping her red umbrella.
Stazda yells at Asa to stop spacing out and ignore the enemy's garbage speeches.
Asa tells herself to get it together, insisting she can handle this.
An oppressive, dark energy rises in the arena. Moppy stares blankly as she traps many images of Stazda within floating water bubbles.
Stazda expresses annoyance that she is always the one responsible for the battle strategy.
Floating in blue energy, Asa notes that something feels very weird.
The two allies accidentally headbutt each other while attempting to charge forward.
Stazda asks if Asa is still holding a grudge and tells her to stop messing around.
Asa clutches her head, stating that acting like the center of the universe feels wrong.
Moppy recalls her history of being bullied and how Crusher gave her meaningful work.
A sinister, wide grin reveals a sense of dark satisfaction.
Buzz B struggles with the weight of a heavy, dark energy bout.
Tenzin is struck by a violent discharge of dark electricity.
A pillar of dark energy erupts between the two women.
Stazda declares her intent to take her opponent out first while charging forward.
Asa reacts in pain, clutching her face after a sudden impact.
A bright orb of blue energy explodes outwards.
The force of the blast launches Asa high into the air.
Stazda and Asa are both sent flying by the powerful shockwave.
Dark clouds gather as rain begins to fall. A cold drizzle covers the industrial arena.
Crusher looks down on the group, calling them deranged trash and stupid women.
Asa accidentally headbutts Stazda again, frantically screaming that it was not on purpose.
Rain continues to fall from the gray sky.
The two allies bicker while grappling with their red umbrella. Buzz B announces that his ultimate energy charge is complete. Tenzin watches the escalating energy with deep concern.
Tenzin's foot slides as he braces for a strike.
A massive pillar of dark energy slams into Tenzin. Asa's eyes glow with a vibrant rainbow star pattern. Moppy and Buzz B stand ready with their manifested energy weapons. The heroes appear battered and exhausted from the struggle. Buzz B bids his opponents a manic goodbye.
A spear of dark energy shoots toward the sky.
Magical rain descends through the dark atmosphere. Moppy vows to clean her opponent's misguided heart until it sparkles brightly. A massive water whirlpool forms in the arena.
Stazda stands drenched as the rain intensifies.
Moppy complains that her ears hurt while a massive water tornado forms behind her.
Stazda shouts that her teammate has been caught in the Imi's trap.
Moppy mocks Bachu for being caught, while the monk recalls his waterfall training. Tenzin reflects on the peaceful days of his monastic trainer.
Asa warns Tenzin that the tornado is closing in and they must act.
Tenzin punches forward into the heart of the swirling water.
The water explodes outward from the force of the strike.
The pair remains focused within the eye of the storm.
Asa observes that her attacks are failing to dent the enemy's defense.
Vibrant blue energy streaks virally.
Tenzin suggests slipping their echo through a small gap to escape their current predicament.
A booted foot plants folly.
Tenzin braces himself against the swirling currents of the vortex.
The monk charges forward into the storm.
Asa questions Tenzin's sanity for attacking an unknown force while he intends to find a weakness through physical contact.
Asa warns her partner that physical durability does not grant him immunity to all circumstances.
As they fight together, Asa insists there must be a way to break through the enemy's technique.
A mocking voice dismisses the duo as common trash and questions their self-perceived importance while they stand trapped.
Asa shouts a desperate command to ignore the enemy's relentless psychological pressure.
A sinister voice urges the combatants to stop lying to themselves about their true nature.
Young Tenzin suffers through rigorous monastic training, weeping under a waterfall while being struck with a wooden slat.
A single droplet falls toward Tenzin's exhausted face. Distorted visions of the past overlap.
Asa clutches her head in agony, pleading for the unwanted memories to stop surfacing.
The unseen antagonist mocks their bravado, claiming their apparent toughness is merely a mask for deep-seated fear.
Within the eye of the storm, a voice inquires about their sudden hesitation.
The voice continues to taunt them, relishing in their visible terror and lack of resolve.
Panicking, Asa realizes she must find a solution immediately but feels paralyzed by uncertainty.
Strange symbols swirl within the blue herji.
Asa stands over her fallen comrade, screaming at the oppressive voices to be silent.
With star-patterned eyes, Asa frantically searches for any possible way to turn the tide.
Asa focuses on her umbrella, determined to find a way to project her echo outside the barrier.
The enemy labels them as delusional fools who think they are the protagonists of a grand story. Asa reacts with pure rage, asserting that the attacker knows nothing of their lives or struggles.
The voice scoffs at their claims of a deep bond.
The antagonist questions the validity of their friendship, suggesting they would easily sacrifice each other to save themselves.
Asa vehemently denies the accusation, refusing to believe she would ever betray her friends.
Faint text mentions a name as energy flickers.
The voice claims they are the same and use others as tools, causing Asa to scream in mental anguish. The enemy calls her a pathetic wreck and questions if she is hiding from her own selfish ambitions.
A bandaged fist tremors as the voice declares that only the strong deserve to survive.
Asa's mental state fractures under the pressure. A traumatic vision of a boy being lethally struck haunts Asa's thoughts.
A brilliant flash of white light erupts. Tears well up in wide eyes.
Tenzin offers a comforting smile to his distressed teammate.
A small mechanical bird appears and tells the pair to snap out of it because they are in grave danger.
The bird machine warns them not to believe the enemy's lies and asserts its exclusive right to insult them.
Speaking through a device, a red-haired woman identifies her broadcast as a one-way transmission and tells the pair to listen up.
The woman questions their intelligence for entertaining the enemy's psychological warfare.
Standing on a box, the red-haired woman dismisses the enemy's words and mocks those who play the role of a tragic victim.
The woman shouts that personal suffering is no excuse for giving up or believing a villain's rhetoric.
Overcome with emotion, Asa recognizes the voice and mentions a name associated with the little robot.
The red-haired woman begins to cry as she continues her passionate speech through the transmitter. She recounts her childhood in the slums of Nur, noting that such places are far harder to escape than a theme park.
The woman explains that her happiness was tied to her mother's presence regardless of their poverty.
With a trembling voice, she reveals the moment her sense of home was destroyed.
She describes how she used her mother's final belongings and echo remnants to create the robot she calls a miracle. Weeping, the woman declares the robot to be a blessing from the heavens and vows to never forgive those who harm it.
The small robot labels the group as selfish, childish idiots who will never be forgiven.
Yarurito tearfully expresses her amusement and offers a begrudging friendship despite her initial dislike.
Asa reflects deeply on the profound nature of opening one's heart to true friends.
Tenzin comforts his teammate, stating he is now fully focused on the task at hand. The monk apologizes for his previous harsh treatment, but his teammate insists no apology is necessary.
Tenzin shares a lesson about self-knowledge while admitting he is still a student of life.
The duo resolves to face the coming challenge together with renewed confidence.
The girl's eyes flare with a brilliant star-patterned rain delay. Trapped in the vortex, Asa observes a swirling, flame-like energy within the water.
She identifies that emotions and energy flow are interconnected components of reality.
Asa deduces that reading emotions will reveal the path through the surrounding energy flow.
The girl commands her partner to strike with everything he has on her signal.
The pair unleashes a synchronized, massive punch of blue energy into the swirling water.
A violent explosion of blue light and water ripples through the eye of the storm.
Tenzin and Asa charge through the heart of the breaking vortex together.
A radiant golden symbol marks the breakthrough of their combined power.
The Enemo's subordinates watch in horror as their powerful technique is completely dismantled. Buzz-Bee is stunned by the sudden and overwhelming reversal of the battle.
Asa and Tenzin descend from the sky, glowing with triumphant blue energy.
Yaruhito watches the scene with a wide, satisfied grin.
The falling allies crash directly into Yaruhito as Asa frantically asks for her forgiveness. A bickering match ensues while the enemies realize they must finish the fight immediately.
A heavy, resonant sound echoes through the dark industrial arena.
Crusher's legs loom over his subordinates as he notes their unexpected threat. The giant leader mocks his minions' failure and prepares to reclaim his bestowed power.
Crusher mercilessly drains the energy from his terrified subordinates, leaving them bleeding and broken.
The villain, standing over his fallen pawns, asserts that they are merely stepping stones in his story.
In a flashback, an elder pats a young boy's head while discussing the nature of stepping stones.
The elder tells the youth that he must climb over those stones to succeed.
The youth vowing to reach the top of the nomads is silenced by the elder's heavy strike. A pink-haired companion mocks the boy's daydreaming and reminds him of the upcoming clan rankings.
The pink-haired youth challenges his friend's readiness, prompting a confident and defensive response.
A trio of young friends bickers over past festivals and warns each other about a special punishment program. The young protagonist vowing to lead his people into a legendary new era of history.
The studious boy tasks his friends with a grueling run, threatening to send them to a lesser tribe.
The three friends cheer together, vowing to change their clan's future and making a blood oath. They reach out toward the open sky, full of useful hope.
The trio discovers a massive mud-like beast sleeping within a dark cavern. Sukten consults his book and identifies the monster as a mountain-punching Druja.
He explains the creature's immense power and durability to his intimidated companions.
Osha remains confident, believing his weapon can easily handle the threat.
Osha lights his pipe and tells his friends to witness the first step of their journey.
The group prepares to attack the monster from a high vantage point above the cavern. Osha pushes his studious friend down the cliff to act as a forced decoy. Young Crusher grabs Osha by the collar as they watch their friend fall screaming.
The trio reunites at the bottom, though Sukten remains visibly shaken and annoyed.
The young warriors leap down toward the creature with intense battle cries. A massive mud-like monster rises to face the intruders as they land. Osha mocks the monster's appearance while Sukten demands they focus on the battle formation.
The group launches their attack with Osha leading the charge against the creature's extending arms.
Attacking the massive mud creature, young Osha shouts to Sukten that his tactical prediction was correct.
Osha launches into a high-speed offensive, declaring his intent to sever the monster's arm and claiming the kill as his own, while mockingly hoping his partner gets a turn next time.
Despite a perfect bonus combo of 5 hits, Sukten is horrified to see the creature still standing and ready to retaliate.
Osha calmly takes a puff of his cigar.
Standing before the towering, shadowy beast, Osha begins a mental countdown as dark energy swirls around him. With a confident smirk, Osha reaches the final count of his mysterious technique. A massive cratering explosion shatters the ground beneath the monster as Osha's companions watch from a distance. The pink-haired boy complains about Osha stealing the spotlight, but Osha laughs it off, claiming he provided the opening and offers a third of the points as a winner's generosity.
As Osha asks about their current score, Sukten tries to warn him that they are out of time just as something violent crashes into the area.
A massive red beast erupts from the earth.
Sukten notes the terrible timing of the Mudaro beast's arrival while casually mentioning he is winning the contest 23-2.
Wiping sweat from his face, Sukten argues that the scoring depends on finishing blows versus effective hits and demands to be left out of the pointless rivalry.
From a nearby cliff, a group of experienced nomads watches the struggle, with one mocking the rookie's poor taste and another refusing to help those who chose to be in over their heads.
A woman with white hair and a fur coat approaches as her subordinates dismiss the rookies for wildly overestimating their abilities compared to their own past achievements.
The white-haired woman coldly estimates the rookie's rank as 7,000s at best while they panic and look for a place to hide from the Mudaro's charge. Stressed and sweating, Osha frantically asks his companion for a new strategy.
Sukten despairs that there is no solution, but the white-haired woman suddenly drops from the sky and shreds the beast with glowing blue energy claws. The three friends stare in absolute shock at the sudden intervention.
The white-haired woman stands amidst the smoke, her power radiating through her claws. She walks past the fallen rookies without a word.
The woman tells the kids not to feel bad because being weak isn't their fault, though her subordinates openly label the group as pathetic.
Looking down with glowing red eyes, she tells the rookies they finally know their place. Osha tries to protest that the prey was theirs, but the woman dismisses his complaint as pathetic while her overwhelming pressure forces him to his knees. Osha desperately explains they spent a month tracking the beast to raise their rank, but the woman warns him not to stray from the nomad's path as a green-haired man approaches.
The green-haired man tells Osha that the boss lady actually saved their lives and that her advice is more valuable than the hunt itself.
The veterans tell the rookies to be satisfied with another chance and wait for next spring as the three friends watch the experts walk away.
Sunlight glints through the blowing leaves. Birds fly across a vast clear sky.
The scene shifts to a quiet village.
Osha and the pink-haired boys sit in their shared room.
Sukten stands by the door and announces that he is leaving the group. Osha questions the decision after they have made so much progress, but Sukten insists it is an agonizing choice he must make regardless of his feelings.
The pink-haired boy remains silent in distraught.
The boy screams at Sukten to stay and not give up on their shared dream, while Osha silently clutches a blue crystal pendant.
Osha declares that the gem they won is more than just proof of a kill.
He reflects on how the crystal represents the beginning of their dream and the journey they shared as a trio.
With a trembling fist, the pink-haired boy reveals he missed his daughter's first steps last month while they were hunting. He laments missing his wife's birthday and months of his family's life due to their grueling hunts for various clans.
Though Sukten suggests taking a break, the pink-haired man tearfully smiles and explains that his time adventuring as a nomad has officially run out.
He vows never to forget the memories they made together. Sukten places a comforting hand on his friend's shoulder, stating they will be brothers forever even if they part ways. The door closes, leaving Osha and Sukten alone in the quiet room.
Sukten asks if they should prepare for the next hunt, and Osha somberly agrees.
Years later, an older, bearded Osha is celebrated in a tavern by new nomads who admire his high rank and long history in the scene.
The veteran nomad takes a long, deep drink from his mug.
Now known as Crusher, he boasts that sticking with him for a few years will make the rookies famous just like him. Crusher explains his name comes from being stuck at his rank for 10 years, acting as the inevitable gatekeeper that every aspiring nomad must eventually face. One of his companions laughs about teaching the basics to newbies as they set their sights on reaching the 4000s. The group raises their mugs in a boisterous toast to Clan Jenga. Distorted purple visions of the original trio's laughter and eventual separation haunt the memories of the present.
Crusher puffs smoke as a dark, oppressive aura rises.
Yarito urges the group to cooperate and break through the swirling shadow.
Asa smiles with newfound confidence.
Crusher asserts that dreams are a privilege reserved only for the strongest.
The villain's massive shadowy form looms over the small heroes. Crusher vows to show the rookies only nightmares. The series logo, Red Aura, appears against a black background. The production credits for the series are displayed. The series logo, Red Aura, is shown again.
A dark, viscous energy drips down into a void.
Asa, Yaruito, and Tenzin stand ready to fight within the darkness.
Violent tremors shake the ground as they prepare to move. Yarito grits her teeth as the intense pressure mounts.
Dark energy orbs surround the group, trapping them in the abyss.
Asa warns her allies not to breathe in the suspicious dark smoke.
Asa aggressively swings her umbrella to clear a path through the shadow.
She notes their lack of leeway and wonders if they can survive.
Asa challenges Crusher's cruelty in destroying others' dreams for satisfaction. She leaps through the air, demanding to know why he finds joy in destruction. Crusher scoffs, stating that the rookie's presence and their past fun days irritate him. A sudden, powerful strike catches Asa off guard. She is sent plummeting toward the ground with incredible force. Tenzin catches Asa mid-air, shouting her name in concern. Yaruito is horrified by the villain's overwhelming speed. Despite her injured arm, Asa insists she is fine and ready to continue.
Asa focuses on a new goal, dragging the enemy out of the smoke.
She realizes the air is becoming thin and hard to breathe. While Yaruito tends to the injury, Asa reveals a breakthrough regarding her ability.
Asa explains that Echo Flow is emotional and combining their strengths is the key.
Crusher's voice echoes, mocking their hope as a pointless sickness.
Tenzin yells for the girls to run as the monster attacks. The group realizes Crusher can move freely within his own smoke. Sweat beads on Yaruito's face as the situation turns desperate.
Crusher cuts off their escape, asserting that nowhere is safe.
His massive shadow arms close in on the retreating allies. Crusher declares that their entire lives are utterly meaningless.
Tenzin watches in shock as a shadow hand reaches for his friends.
Tenzin charges in with a glowing fist, telling the girls to find a strategy while he defends them. Crusher mocks Tenzin's effort, claiming he won't need half his strength to break the boy's pillar.
Tenzin exerts all his energy to block the giant shadow's crushing rake.
A massive shadowy fist descends with crushing power.
Asa notes that Bachu cannot hold out forever against the regenerating smoke armor.
Yaruito explains they must teleport into the enemy's blind spot to land a real hit.
Visions of the suffering people fuel Ace's determination to take a difficult gamble.
Ace's eyes glow with a radiant, multicolored resolve. Asa proposes using a roar and an amplifier to unite everyone's emotions for a moment. Yaruito jokingly chokes Asa for her reckless talk before agreeing to the plan. The two women charge into the smoke with renewed purpose.
Crusher's purple eyes glow with malice within the darkness.
Tenzin remains trapped under Crusher's shadow as the villain asks if he can still hear.
Crusher taunts the black-haired girl about the internal panic she is feeling.
The villain observes her pounding heart and relishes the exquisite flavor of her fear. Asa rejects his insults and strikes back against the shadowy presence.
She charges through the thick purple smoke with her red umbrella.
Crusher declares his intent to eliminate the defiant girl first.
The shadow monster mocks her efforts as merely making useless dents in the smoke.
Finding a sudden surge of spirit, Asa declares she has found her fire.
A brilliant blue flash of energy cuts through the oppressive gloom.
Asa celebrates her strike, but Crusher dismisses it as a pathetic and trivial attempt.
Tenzin prepares to hold his ground while waiting for the red-haired woman's tuck.
Tenzin reassures his allies of his reliability as he faces the onslaught.
Asa's world begins to fragment into dark, swirling distortions. Haunting thoughts about youth and self-blame begin to cloud her mind. A desperate internal plea to run echoes through the visual noise.
A distorted command to stand up resonates through the chaotic glitching.
Reflections on losing credibility and vision surface amidst the static. The scene shifts into a fractured, multicolored void of memories. The fragmented vision mentions a camp as the distortion intensifies. Pure visual chaos consumes the girl's sense of reality.
A distorted morning greeting breaks through the layers of noise.
The overwhelming static drowns out all narrative focus. Confusion arises over a mysterious song playing within the glitch. Thoughts of unity and transformation flicker through the digital haze. A final, broken declaration of refusal fades into the darkness.
A blurry, colorful figure begins to emerge from the deep purple energy.
The series logo Red Aura is displayed against a black background.
Tenzin gazes into the abyss and realizes the situation has turned dire. Yorito desperately tries to hack the logic of the area to save the trapped girl. Realizing the odds are low, the red-haired woman decides to improvise with her current gear. A moment of high tension is captured through sharp focus lines. Yoruito watches in shock as the purple slime completely envelops her friend.
She demands Tenzin's immediate help to extract the conduit and facilitate an escape.
Yoruito instructs Tenzin to use her glowing souls as a launching platform.
With a powerful physical boost, she propels Tenzin toward the Yeti. Tenzin rockets through the air with incredible momentum. A violent explosion of blue and yellow energy clashes with the shadow. Yoruito rushes toward the fallen girl as the smoke clears. She finds Asa in a state of total collapse and realizes the situation is critical.
A faint, desperate sound of protest comes from the girl on the ground.
Asa's eyes look blank and glazed over as she struggles to regain consciousness. Crusher towers over the two women and coldly tells them to calm down. The villain offers them one final, mocking chance to flee for their lives. Despite her injuries, Asa grits her teeth and flatly refuses to retreat. She declares that the fight will only end with the villain's fall or her own.
The two allies charge forward together for a final, desperate assault.
A massive pillar of dark energy descends with crushing force. Crusher mocks their intelligence and the perceived weakness of their strategy.
Yoruito leaps into the air and delivers a bold, eccentric final strike.
Her face is set with grim determination as she commits to the attack. The villain looks on as the speed of their final gambit closes the distance. A red umbrella strikes with blue energy. A massive impact shakes the dark abyss. Yoruito notes she signaled Asa, while Asa observes that only Bacchus attacks are landing, wondering why the enemy remains standing.
Yoruito asks what her ally is doing, but Asa focuses on the smoke and ending the fight quickly.
The shadow monster roars with purple power. A violent explosion destroys the immediate surroundings. Yoruito shouts to recover Crow Mama Hotcast from the enemy's feet as the two allies distance themselves from the threat. Asa suggests they regroup with Bachu to exploit Crusher's blind spot and land a decisive blow.
She's running like she left the oven on.
Crusher mocks Yairito's poor aim and predicts her demise as a failed nomad.
The red-haired woman misses her target again as the villain scoffs at her wasted career.
Yoruito recoils in horror as dark, clutching hands emerge from the ground.
A whirlwind of motion cuts through the darkness.
Bachu announces a change in strategy as the team regroups within the SMUP.
Bachu questions Asa's location, but she tells him it is a long story and orders him to strike the enemy's blind spot. Asa explains that Yairito's noise will draw everyone's focus, allowing her to shape the echo flow and propel Bachu into position for their one-shot. The two warriors exchange a determined look as lightning crackles between them, ready to execute their final gambit.
Yairito recovers on the ground, checking on her friend and admitting she briefly lost her composure.
The red-haired woman is frozen with shock as she stares at a shadowy, dripping figure. A girl covered in dark slime smiles hauntingly, leaving Yairito in total disbelief.
A warm memory flickers within the chaos.
Yoruito breaks down in tears, questioning if everything she is seeing is just a dream.
As Yoruito cries out for her mother, Asa descends from above to strike the shadow monster.
Yairito grits her teeth in pain while Asa continues her desperate aerial assault. A radiant blue light pierces through the dark energy, throwing the allies backward.
Asa's gaze hardens with a cold falf.
She swings her weapon with immense power. A blinding light clashes with the darkness. Bachu demands to know why his ally is letting herself be shaken during the heat of battle.
Yoruito coughs up blood as she struggles to remain upright against the overwhelming pressure.
A heavy boot stomps into the ground.
The monster screeches with terrifying eyes. Asa defies the villain, shouting that she will never bow down to him.
Bachu launches a high-flying kick at the Xiao.
He winds up a massive punch.
Bachu lands a heavy blow, but the monster strikes him back with devastating force.
Asa screams in terror as Bachu is sent reeling, coughing up blood from the brutal impact.
Crusher scoffs at their plan, asking who they think truly controls the blind spots in his domain.
The villain declares the area his world as he lashes out at the black-haired girl.
Crusher asserts that his will is the ultimate authority over all reality. The scene fades into an empty void.
Yaruito weeps into her microphone as the shadow loom over her.
A brilliant pink energy explosion erupts. Swirling waves of light fill the abyss. Asa is caught in the pink energy.
Bachu watches with a bloodied face as the final stage of the battle begins.
A climactic explosion leads to the logo.
Production credits are shown on a black background.
The red aura logo appears again.
Asa looks up in awe and relief, realizing they have finally succeeded. The red-haired woman lies on the ground and smiles, satisfied with the progress of the battle.
Crusher towers over the field as a massive shadow with a hollow, glowing core. The allies watch in disbelief as the center of the monster's form begins to swirl. They realize the villain's actual physical body is not present within the shadowy smoke.
A sinister voice mocks them, claiming they have been manipulated from the very beginning.
The wounded warriors lie defeated as the villain scoffs at their failed attempt to outsmart him.
The shadow reveals it was merely allowing them to play along with their own misguided plan. A massive silhouette looms over the void, radiating an aura of dark, oppressive energy.
Crusher declares that their failure was a predetermined certainty from the start of the encounter.
The villain offers a cold mercy, promising to end their lives without further suffering.
Asa's mind begins to fracture as she despairs over the seemingly unavoidable end of her journey. She struggles with intense emotional pain as her reality begins to dissolve into distorted ripples.
Cruel, mocking voices fill her consciousness, calling her dreams worthless and her life pointless.
The darkness continues to barrage her with thoughts of worthlessness and the disappointment of others.
Submerged in a red void, she feels the weight of complete rejection from the world around her.
She pleads for the mental torment to stop until a sudden, eerie silence takes hold.
Floating in a chaotic swirl of energy, she wonders why her consciousness still persists.
In a distorted landscape, she questions why her sense of self has not yet disappeared.
She realizes that despite the assault on her mind, her core thoughts and existence remain. Her eye snaps open, glowing with a newfound and brilliant blue light.
Her hand tightens its grip around the handle of her signature red umbrella.
The shadow monster raises its weapon, prepared to deliver a final and crushing blow.
A sudden spark of defiant energy ignites within the oppressive purple darkness.
Asa's eye blazes with a radiant, multicolored power as she refocuses on the physical world. The villain reacts with visible shock as the girl begins to resist his mental pressure.
Asa laughs defiantly, mocking the villain's disbelief as she successfully escapes his mental trap.
She explains that she has already seen through the trick of his inescapable smoke ability.
With a confident smirk, the black-haired girl prepares to turn the tide of the entire battle.
The shadow monster stammers in denial, accusing her of merely bluffing about her recovery.
She questions the villain's perception of reality, standing tall despite his previous devastating impact.
Asa admits the hallucination was effective, but she has finally broken free from its grip.
She identifies the villain's true power as a form of mental interference rather than physical right.
Asa asserts that true strength comes from a strong heart rather than a powerful body.
She declares her absolute refusal to submit, even if her body is completely shattered.
The monster roars in fury, dismissing her words as a useless attempt to change their reality. Despite her injuries, Asa activates a full release of her power to counter the monster's assault.
The audience watches in awe as a massive purple vortex erupts in the middle of the arena.
Crusher summons a terrifying new form, identifying himself as a servant of savage solitude.
The villain claims his power is fueled by the weight of lost time and wasted lives.
He strikes downward, condemning the girl's dreams as empty and painful delusions.
Asa deflects the attack with a swirl of blue energy, reclaiming ownership of her own future.
Crusher lashes out with heavy chains, screaming about the sacrifices made for his dark vision. The black-haired girl leaps high, meeting the oncoming chains with her glowing umbrella.
A violent clash of energies illuminates the dark void with a blinding white light.
Asa defines a dream as something precious precisely because it is difficult to achieve.
She argues that the pain of loss is what drives people to dream again and again.
Rushing through the barrage of chains, she rejects the villain's obsession with past painful memories.
She delivers a powerful strike with her umbrella, cutting through the shadow's defenses.
A massive spiral of energy consumes the battlefield as the two opposing powers collide.
Asa pours everything into her final strike, her gaze fixed on the target with unwavering resolve.
A massive pillar of blue energy slams into the cratered battlefield.
Lying wounded on the ground, Asa questions how she should respond to Altan while admitting she finally understands his perspective.
A dark thought reflects on the despair of losing everything and having nothing to show for the struggle.
A warm memory of a smiling boy flickers amidst the current darkness.
She fears that she might eventually suffer the same fate as the man in her memories.
Looming over her, the shadow monster mocks the black-haired girl's intelligence.
Asa uses the tip of her red umbrella to draw a glowing blue sigil on the floor, claiming she has found exactly what is needed. The villain warns her that life will vanish before her eyes as he lashes out with purple energy chains. The shadow monster asserts that not everyone is worthy of a dream, while Asa quietly realizes the truth of the situation.
She leaps into the air using her umbrella to deflect a crushing blow. The red umbrella vibrates under the intense pressure of the impact.
A massive shockwave ripples through the ground as the two powers collide.
Asa declares that her goal has evolved into a shared dream, making every moment of the pursuit valuable.
Radiant blue energy erupts as she counters the villain's dark power.
The monster dismisses her resolve as the naive delusions of someone who refuses to face reality. She stomps downward, channeling her power through her bits.
With her eyes glowing a brilliant blue, Asa charges forward and dares the monster to face her.
Asa challenges the villain to prove his cynical view of the world as correct as they clash.
A powerful swing creates a massive arc of light. The shadow monster goads her to display her final, desperate stand against his power.
Asa's gaze remains fixed with absolute glowing blue intensity.
Rushing through the chaos, she navigates the barrage of dark chains.
The villain demands she prove the true worth of her cherished dream. A storm of purple energy projectiles descends upon the arena. Asa deflects the onslaught with rapid, precise strikes of her weapon.
The shadow monster challenges her to produce a fantasy that can overcome his grim reality.
A terrifying roar echoes through the purple abyss. The villain prepares to unleash a final, overwhelming scream. Asa commits everything to a singular, descending strike of her red umbrella.
Asa reveals she saw the villain's inner pain and tells him he no longer has to suffer.
Distorted memories of past camaraderie and shared laughter swirl in a blue haze.
A final thought reflects on the simple desire to have reached the stage alongside cherished companions.
A blinding explosion of white and blue energy consumes the scene.
The dark, clutching hand of the shadow monster dissolves into nothingness.
Exhausted but standing tall, the black-haired girl admits she finally comprehends the depth of that lingering pain.
The angry crowd screams in outrage, demanding their money back and cursing the villain for his sudden defeat. Asa looks down at the fallen opponent as the smoke clears.
Two silhouettes linger in a fading, warm light.
The scene transitions into a soft, hazy glow. A faint, satisfied chuckle echoes through the clearing mist.
Eurito groggily wakes up, blinking her eyes and calling out for a friend. Asa grins mischievously while using a marker to draw on the red-haired woman's face, claiming she earned the right to a prank.
Bachu asks if she is drawing a mark of victory, while Asa laughs and asks for the red-haired woman's opinion.
The black-haired girl is startled by a sudden, energetic movement.
Eurito bellows at the top of her lungs, demanding to know if they actually won. The red-haired woman shakes Asa violently in a comedic panic while Bachu watches with a silly grin.
Bachu tells his companion to relax and calm down for a moment. Yerito reacts with utter shock as she realizes her face has been vandalized. The red-haired woman chases Asa in a frantic, comedic rage. The exhausted allies lie on the ground together, laughing as they finally celebrate their hard-won victory.
Asa celebrates their hard-won victory with a loud cheer.
Yerito feels a grim satisfaction now that the villain is defeated. Asa reflects on the shared pain she sensed during a battle.
Asa vows that she will never succumb to such hatred herself.
A sudden transition is marked by a formal shipboard announcement.
The arena audience erupts into a chaotic and violent riot.
Asa suggests they quickly find Tenzin and make their escape.
The allies are stunned as a sudden gravity shift occurs. The entire group is abruptly launched into the air.
Confusion spreads as the arena crowd drifts helplessly in zero gravity.
Bachu marvels at the strange sensation of flying through the air.
Orders are broadcast for all staff to begin the ascent procedure. Bachu prepares to catch Tenzin as they drift through the hallway. Bachu mocks Tenzin for only reappearing once the fighting ended. Numerous people drift through the ship's interior during the gravity loss. Tenzin deeply regrets becoming involved in this overwhelming chaos. Asa and her friends marvel at the ship's incredible energy. Rioters scramble to secure goods before the captain finds them.
Tenzin desperately calls for anyone to take him to an infirmary.
A disorienting wave of energy pulses through the shifting environment.
A nurse reprimands the patients for floating without official permission.
Eurito is fascinated by the ship's unique energy transmission method.
A muscular nurse demands they follow the captain's orders immediately. Asa prepares to ask Tenzin a question while strapped to her bed. Tenzin reluctantly agrees to answer Asisa's persistent questioning. Asa asks how Tenzin managed to freeze everyone before the match. Tenzin apologizes for the terrifying experience he forced upon her. Tenzin fears a full explanation would only cause further confusion. Asa struggles to understand Tenzin's cryptic and serious wording.
Tenzin promises she will eventually have the foundation to understand.
Asa silently acknowledges that today is not the time for answers.
Asa scolds Tenzin for breaking his own rules about fighting. The group engages in a heated debate over Tenzin Gact. Tenzin insists his higher being pact is far too complex to explain. Loud argumentative voices echo through the entire infirmary ward.
A sudden, violent impact interrupts the group's noisy bickering.
A short administrator arrives and demands to see the troublemakers.
Tenzin and Asa insist they were not responsible for the Naris.
The administrator activates a specialized button on his magnetic boots.
The administrator accuses Tenzin of mocking his authority and position. Asa defends herself as a beautiful girl amidst the administrator's rant. The heavy clank of magnetic boots resonates through the corridor.
Asa and Bachu hope for fried chicken upon reaching the captain.
The administrator warns of the captain's severe and final judgment. Guards begin towing the strapped-down allies toward the command deck.
Bachu groans about the agonizing hunger he is currently enduring.
A guard gagged Tenzin to keep him from talking any further. Guards discuss the captain's legendary and terrifying secret power.
A veteran guard reflects on his long history of serving the captain.
The rookie guard is stunned by the rarity of the current situation. Narrative text explains an internal conflict within the clan to determine the next leader. A crew member reflects on how their current captain became the youngest wielder in history.
While being wheeled through the ship on stretchers, Asa energetically expresses her admiration for the captain and asks to join their clan.
The crew member encourages Asa, explaining that following the captain is a guaranteed path to the top rank.
An administrator sternly warns against making light of the situation, urging them to remember why the captain was forced to use her power.
He continues his lecture as the wounded Tenzin listens silently, noting that the captain has kept her true power sealed away ever since. Looming over the prisoners, the official explains that the captain still carries the heavy weight of her immense responsibilities.
Thought bubbles clarify that the leader is not a distant hero or legend, but someone much closer to them. With a fierce expression, the administrator declares that she is their captain and they are dedicated to her.
The crew stands in formation, vowing to act as their leader's sword and shield against every possible hardship. From above, the allies are shown being transported as the crew dreams of providing the captain a happy life. Standing before a glowing exit, the man expresses his wish for the captain to live as an ordinary woman. Swift transit through the ship's corridors. Extreme speed creates a blurred effect. The four allies look around dizzily as they are moved through the massive vessel.
Looking out a large window, Asa is mesmerized by the view unfolding before her.
A vast green landscape stretches out below the ship's massive observation deck.
Tenzin and the others marvel at the first sight of the legendary Tengri continent.
Yorito is wide-eyed with pure wonder.
Bachu smiles warmly at the team.
Asa's gaze becomes serious and intense. The series title card is displayed. Credits for the series are shown.
From the observation deck, the group observes the sprawling forests of the Tengria continent.
Asa silently reflects on her promise to those who cannot pursue their own dreams.
Tenzin suffers from a sudden, intense physical pain that makes him scream. A guard orders the group to secure their magnetic boots as they prepare to finally meet the captain.
The senior guard warns that any distraction to the captain could jeopardize the entire ship's ascent procedure.
Asa and Yorito look battered and dazed from the recent chaotic events. The administrator offers a final bit of advice to the allies regarding their status as passengers. Magnetic boots engage with the floor. Asa and Tenzin brace themselves for the upcoming meeting with the mysterious leader. A warning flashes to never underestimate the power of the ship's formidable captain. The group enters the command center as the guard warns that disrespecting the captain is a death wish. A booming command orders the crew to salute as the door opens.
Rows of crew members snap into a crisp salute toward the front of the room.
The allies stand confused and out of place behind the disciplined wall of saluting guards. Yorito is immediately distracted by the incredible and rare technology used to power the ship's command deck. A massive glowing orb of pure energy pulsates in the center of the sophisticated machinery. The guard nervously calls out to the captain as he arrives in the command room.
He formalizes the arrival of the group before the glowing power source, identifying them as the culprits.
Pulsating energy fills the command room. The entire command room is bathed in the brilliant golden light of the core. Yorito shouts in excitement, questioning how they managed to build such an advanced echo circuit and resonant magnetic barrier.
The energy field ripples with power.
A small, brightly dressed girl stands calmly in front of the massive energy source.
Sparks erupt from the energy force.
The energy core reaches peak intensity. Suddenly, the small captain lunges forward and grabs the unsuspecting red-haired woman by the collar. As the captain hoists Yorito into the air, a panicked guard screams that the energy field is becoming unstable.
The small captain apologizes to Burma for her aggressive behavior while holding a large tuning fork.
She tells her friend not to worry about Uncle Bill, as he can manage being electrocuted for a few minutes. The captain admits she is far more interested in the red-haired woman standing before her. The small leader asks if they have met before, but Yorito nervously denies any prior acquaintance.
The captain recalls a secret midnight walk and a kind encounter while a guard salutes in the background.
She complains about her clan members holding her back, while Yarurito struggles to recall the midnight walk.
The captain thanks the woman for steering them back to the topic of moving fins with Eka.
Yairo remembers being told to see the ship's power for herself by a mysterious hooded figure.
The captain praises her for figuring out the resonator's function despite it being cutting-edge technology.
She is amused that a no-name engineer saw through her designs, while Asa's small robot looks on.
Thought bubbles describe how the engineer ignored safety protocols and reassembled the ship's engine alone.
The captain admits she wants to take the woman's work apart and examine it carefully.
An obsessive internal monologue reveals the captain hasn't been able to think about anything else.
A hand drips with a strange, viscous metallic liquid as the environment shifts.
A memory of a happy child is interrupted by a sharp command for Yorito to stop.
A monstrous, multi-eyed, shadowy entity looms over the terrified red-haired woman.
The shadow asks why she stopped, its massive eyes staring directly into her soul.
The red-haired woman is frozen in fear as the voice insists it is the one in control.
Swirling dark lines and glowing eyes represent the overwhelming power of the captain's true form.
A tiny silhouette of the engineer stands before the massive, weeping eye of the shadow monster.
The entity questions if the woman actually has the power to make it stop. The darkness fades as the captain reaffirms her authority while placing a hand on the engineer's head.
The captain becomes cheerful again, telling her she should have just said so from the start.
A sudden blast of energy clears the area as the pressure in the room dissipates. The captain floats through the golden energy, satisfied that her power has stabilized. She admires the eco-engineering and the clever way the ship is currently conserving its energy.
The leader decides to borrow the engineer's ideas, regardless of whether she receives official permission.
Glowing golden symbols and particles swirl through the command center's energy fields. The captain reaches into the swirling mass of light, calling the display of energy majestic. She celebrates, stating they should be able to manage their journey until they reach Nuru Newer. The captain thanks Uncle Bill and orders him to send the visitors back to their quarters. The group is released while the charred guard smokes from the recent electrical discharge. The allies stand together on a rising platform as they are moved through the ship. A large crowd of guards and officials watch silently as the group of friends is escorted away.
Asa reflects on the intense experience of meeting a true wielder for the first time.
Yaruito sighs with relief, glad that they have survived the encounter and are safe for now. The scene shifts to a bright, clear blue sky above the vast ocean. A massive fish-shaped vessel surfaces from the water with a thunderous splash.
The allies share a montage of lighthearted moments and chores during their travel.
They engage in comedic boxing matches and celebrate their journey with drinks and laughter. The ship arrives at Nuru Newer, a magnificent floating island city at the heart of the capital. The group disembarks into the bustling capital, surrounded by travelers and monks.
Asa looks back at her friends and asks if this is the point where they must go separate ways.
Yayurido tells Bachu not to die because it would be a waste of his potential. Tenzin smiles warmly, noting that their shared memories will remain even if they part.
Asa agrees with a bright smile, reflecting on the amazing days of adventure they shared.
The friends join hands in a final gesture of solidarity and friendship. They cheer together, declaring that this moment is not the end of their journey.
A celebratory message appears, stating that this is actually just the beginning of their story.
The three friends laugh and joke together as they prepare for the next chapter of their lives.
Asa smiles warmly, her blue eyes shimmering as she declares that this parting is not a permanent goodbye.
Under a radiant blue sky, a white-haired man laughs heartily as he arrives at his destination.
Standing atop a high vantage point, the man admires the breathtaking beauty of the city of Nurunir.
With a determined expression, the man plants his foot firmly onto the ground as he prepares to make his entrance.
He praises the city as the jewel of Tengria before making a crude, boisterous comparison about its brilliance.
Overlooking the sprawling urban landscape from above, the white-haired man triumphantly announces his return to his beloved city.